Chapter 1673. Ah, the heavenly mandate, lightning bright, sect master screamed again and again. The incomparably sharp power tore his defense to pieces, and his body was also minced until it was dripping with blood, and there was not an undamaged part of his body. I took first place in the Tao disciple competition and accepted the so-called heavenly Tao's decree. I was almost implanted with a slave imprint and narrowly escaped death. As the leader of the heavenly mandate lightning bright sect, this debt will naturally be counted on you. This is your second great crime. Su Fang's voice, which was like the judgment of the heavens, rang out once more. Boom, boom, boom. Vines wrapped around the heavenly mandate lightning bright sect master, making it difficult for him to move. Then a torrent of water erupted from Su Fang's world like a mountain flood. It surged with momentum and slammed into the heavenly mandate lightning bright sect master, causing him to cough up blood again and again. The heavenly mandate lightning bright sect master was a peak Tao realm expert. Although he was injured, his dignity didn't diminish. He roared at Su Fang. Su Fang, you dare to humiliate this seat like this? This seat will definitely. What can you do to me? You used me as cannon fodder in the great war of immortal and demon, giving me a mission with no chance of survival. You wanted to use the demon race to get rid of me. How can such a despicable and shameless person lead an immortal Tao faction? This is your fourth great crime. Boom! A wave of flames swept over, enveloping the heavens mandate bright firmament sect master. His roar was replaced by a scream of agony. I took first place in the Tao disciple competition. Not only did I not receive the rewards and status I deserved, but I was also suspected by you and almost had my soul searched by Hizun. This is your third crime. Su Fang's voice rang out. As soon as the divine might of the flames dissipated, the fragments of matter in the world quickly condensed into huge meteors that fell from the sky and rained down on the heavenly mandate lightning bright sect master. Puff, 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 puff. Crack, crack, crack. The heavenly mandate lightning bright sect master's bones shattered and his internal organs were heavily injured. Blood spurted out like a fountain. During the great war of immortal and demon, you betrayed my whereabouts to Azura. Such a perverse person should have died long ago. This is your fifth great crime. Su Fang let out a thunderous roar, as if the firmament was angry, sending down the punishment of the heavens. Asterisk crack. Asterisk a bolt of lightning shot out of the heavenly mandate lightning bright sect master. Boom. The sect master was sent flying like a cannonball. Lightning flickered on his body, and an astonishing destructive power destroyed his body layer by layer. A heavenly mandate lightning bright sect master's heavenly mandate lightning bright sect master's bright sect master. The lightning bright sect master. It turned out that every sect master of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect would be controlled by the upper realms Tao of sealing the heavens and planted with an imperial seal. This kind of imperial seal was similar to a slave seal. Not only could it control cultivators, but it could also release a protective divine might at a critical moment. Heavenly mandate lightning bright sect master relied on the imperial seal to save his life. However, he was ravaged by Su Fang. Not to mention, he was seriously injured and his Tao heart was almost shattered. He looked at Su Fang with eyes full of shock and fear, as if he was looking at a devil. When the six natural forces of the world were complete and turned into a world, its power was terrifying. However, Su Fang's world was still in its initial stage. It was still 100,000 miles away from the endless evolution of the heaven and earth universe. It could suppress Tao realm cultivators, but in the face of a demigod realm expert, it could at most protect itself. Su Fang's world also collapsed due to the exhaustion of power. Turning the power of his whole body into a world exhausted his strength. At this time, his aura became sluggish, and he looked like he was about to collapse. Although this was the case, the powerful strength Su Fang displayed was also incomparably shocking. The other heavenly mandate lightning bright sect elders were originally fighting to kill their way to the ruins, wanting to perform well in front of the first Supreme Elder. Who knows? The dignified leader of Heavenly Mandate Lightning Bright sect was actually ravaged by Su Fong in such a domineering manner. Seeing this, they were all frightened and turned to flee several times faster than when they came. It wasn't just the grand elders of the Heavenly Mandate Bright Firmament sect. Even Shu Yunkong stared at Su Fong in disbelief, his heart in turmoil. This disciple of mine is simply a monster. He is not inferior to Wanjin in the slightest. If he goes to the divine realm in the future, he will definitely bloom with a peerless edge. Shu Yunkong was shocked in his heart, followed by a burst of ecstasy. He was originally in a state of near death, but at this time, a trace of life miraculously appeared. Master, you go to the cave to rest. Leave the rest to this disciple. Su Fong saw Shu Yunkong's state, and his heart suddenly sank. Heavenly Mandate Lightning Bright sect First Supreme Elder and the Lord of the Demon Realm are old monsters with 1 foot in the divine realm. Can you deal with them? Shu Yunkong asked worriedly. Master, don't worry. Even if this disciple can't kill them all, this disciple has the confidence to escape. Su Fong said very confidently. Shu Yunkong saw that he was so confident and that he was in such a state. Not only would he not be able to help Su Fong outside, but he would also be a burden to Su Fong. Thus, he no longer hesitated and entered the mobile cave. Then, the mobile cave became the size of a palm and was absorbed into the depths of his body. High up in the sky, Heavenly Mandate Lightning Bright sect First Supreme Elder had already started a confrontation with the Lord of the Demon Realm. He also expected that the sect master might encounter some trouble suppressing Su Fong. Su Fong was not an ordinary Dao realm cultivator. Although the Heavenly Mandate Lightning Bright sect master's strength was extraordinary, suppressing Su Fong was definitely not an easy task. During the Great War of the Immortals and Demons, even the Lord of the Demon Realm was unable to suppress him. Of course, it was just a bit of trouble. The Lord of the Demon Realm was burning with anxiety. Not to mention other things, Su Fong's perfect physical body and abundant life aura, as well as the yang qi that was very important to the Demon Realm and the Big Goblin. As long as he swallowed Su Fong, not only would the Lord of the Demon Realm's injuries be healed, his strength would definitely improve. The 2 demigod experts regarded Su Fong as something in the bag, but they did not expect that the result of the matter would be completely different from what they imagined. A mid-level Dao Realm cultivator can actually defeat a peak high-level Dao Realm expert, and he is only cultivated for less than 10,000 years. If such a person is allowed to grow up, how terrifying would he be? The first Supreme Elder's head exploded as he looked at Su Fong in disbelief. Only then did he realize that although he did not underestimate Su Fong, he still seriously underestimated Su Fong. At this rate of improvement, it would not be long before there was no one in the outside world who could suppress Su Fong. Fear surged in the first Supreme Elder's heart. He immediately gave up on entangling with the Lord of the Demon Realm and charged towards Su Fong. This time, he completely dispelled the idea of capturing Su Fong alive. Instead, he wanted to use thunder to kill him in one fell swoop. Boom! A divine might descended on the ruins, giving people a feeling of changing the world. The first Supreme Elder was swept up by the will of the Heavenly Tao. At this time, he turned into the Heavenly Tao that controlled everything. Everything in the world trembled under his will. Suppress. Supreme Grand Elder's cold voice resounded. He didn't even form any hand seals. Just his voice alone could transform into a supreme divine ability that could turn the world upside down. Boom, boom, boom. As the first Supreme Elder's voice reverberated, it set off a terrifying momentum of the world, forming a storm that could annihilate everything. It came crashing down on Su Fong in a mighty manner. The number 1 expert of the Heaven's Mandate, How Song sect, was so terrifying. A demigod expert's control of the outside world's power was even inferior to a god. After all, a god came from the god realm and was restricted by the laws of the heavenly Tao to maintain the order of the world. They could only use their own divine power to display divine abilities, and the divine power they consumed was difficult to replenish. However, a demigod expert was not limited by this and could use the laws of the outside world to display the power of the world to the extreme. Under such a terrifying divine might, Su Fong was like an insignificant ant facing a tornado. He would be crushed into powder in an instant. However, Su Fong raised the corner of his mouth, revealing a trace of disdain. Could it be that he still has some trump card? Could it be another trap? Thinking of how Su Fong had lured the sect master of the Heaven's Mandate, how Tsong's sect, and violently ravaged him, the first Supreme Elder's heart thumped. An ominous premonition floated in his heart. Luo, I'll leave it to you. Su Fong sent a thought to the blood jade in the depths of his body. Let's let these ants of the great world experience the supreme might of our race. Luo's voice was filled with killing intent. At the next moment, the boss was stunned. A mysterious and majestic life aura erupted from the blood jade, breaking through the shackles of the crimson cage and penetrating the seals of the crimson array, seeping into Su Fong's flesh, meridians, and bones. In an instant, Su Fong's body seemed to ignite. The great circle body was like a mountain containing all kinds of abilities. Su Fong had only opened a small part of it, and now Luo's even more majestic energy had turned it into an erupting volcano. Su Fong's body also underwent astonishing changes. His entire body exuded surging and mysterious blood energy. Mysterious patterns appeared on the skin of his face and arms, interweaving together like a mysterious totem. His body erupted with an aura full of killing intent, like an azura descending to the world. Let's see who will suppress who. In an instant, Su Fong possessed a powerful strength that he had never had before. He couldn't help but burst out with a roar. Like an ancient fierce beast, he rushed toward the first Supreme Elder. Boom, boom, boom. The first Supreme Elder's terrifying world, divine might bombarded Su Fong's body. Su Fong's aura shattered layer by layer, but Su Fong's speed was not affected in the slightest. In an instant, he was within 1,000 feet of the first Supreme Elder. At this time, Su Fong looked like a war god shaking the heavens, majestic and unstoppable. Boom, boom, boom. Su Fong punched out with all the power he had accumulated. Blood-red light gathered into a star, and killing intent filled the heavens. It gave off an aura that could suppress the heavens and earth as it rumbled towards the first Supreme Elder. The power of a god. All of a sudden, Su Fong obtained the power of a deity that is somewhat similar to Sang Han's. The first Supreme Elder of Tianming, Hao Tsong's sect's expression changed instantly, and his eyes revealed a look of disbelief. Equals _ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1674. Chapter 1693, and APNB Su Fong's fist shook the heavens and earth. Grand Elder's expression changed. His first thought was, I've been tricked again. Azura. Su Fong is actually a god from the Azura race? Afraid of falling behind Grand Elder, the Lord of the Demon Realm rushed over aggressively. Seeing this scene, he was scared out of his wits. These two demigod experts were like two hungry wolves fighting to pounce on a sheep. Who knows? With a shake of his body, the sheep transformed into a fierce tiger, suddenly revealing sharp and malevolent fangs. The Lord of the Demon Realm didn't hesitate to turn tail and flee. What a joke! A demigod like him could be considered a supreme existence in the outside world. But in front of a god, it was the same as a mortal facing an immortal. If he didn't flee quickly, the demon race would have to change their ruler. Heaven's Mandate, Hao Tsong's sect's Grand Elder wasn't as lucky as the Lord of the Demon Realm. His terrifying aura was crushed layer by Su Fong's bloody star, and he himself was about to be killed. Tai Huang Bell. In this moment of crisis, the Lord of the Demon Realm spoke. Old words were spoken. Grand Elder didn't dare to hold back. With a flip of his right hand, he shot out a cyan Xingguang, which transformed into a 3-zhong tall bell in front of him. This large bell was bronze, clearly not an ordinary Dao tool. Covered in ancient immortal runes, it exuded a deep and ancient aura. The Tai Huang Bell, ranked in the outside world's top 10 Dao tools, it had the terrifying ability to destroy and create a material world. It was at the same level as the Xianming lightning seal, almost reaching the level of a divine tool. To be able to enter the top 10 Dao artifacts, all of them were famous for their fighting prowess. The Tai Huang Bell was no exception. During the Great War of Immortals and Demons, two resurrected demigods, Mingba and Dragonivore, had infiltrated the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect in an attempt to kill the first Supreme Elder, only to be gravely injured instead. The first Supreme Elder had relied on the bell's power. When Su Fong was in the enclosure of buried gods, he had seen the Imperial Brilliance Bell activated by the experts of the Long family. It was a replica of the Grand Brilliance Bell. It wasn't that there were no divine artifacts in the outside world, but immortal Dao cultivators simply couldn't bring out much of their power. Moreover, divine artifacts were subject to many restrictions in the outside world, making them less practical than some powerful Dao artifacts. Take the Origin Sacred Mirror, for example. Although it was a supreme divine artifact, it couldn't control the divine mirror. As a demigod expert, the Grand Supreme Elder was able to fully unleash the might of the Grand Brilliance Bell. Boom! And Apndang! Su Fong's blood-colored star collided with the big cyan bell, creating a loud noise. Heaven and earth shook. Then came a series of earth-shattering explosions. A terrifying shockwave that could shatter the world swept out in all directions. The material ruins below the APNB were completely shattered into pieces. The surrounding space collapsed layer by layer, causing the energy of heaven and earth to be imbalanced. An area of space-time chaos appeared. The Lord of the Demon Realm was not spared either. He had just escaped into the void when he was violently shaken out of the violently shaking space. His aura field was shattered, and his incomparably tough body was also shaken until cracks appeared on it, and demon blood spurted out. Fortunately, the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect master and 4 other experts were behind the first Supreme Elder. Most of the power was borne by the first Supreme Elder alone, otherwise they would have died on the spot. However, none of them felt good. The sect master, who was already gravely injured, was now in a worse situation. The other 4 experts were shaken to the point of vomiting blood. The first Supreme Elder was shaken 100 miles away. He staggered and was almost unable to maintain his flying state. The big cyan bell hung in front of him. The immortal patterns on it were broken, and dense cracks appeared. The first Supreme Elder's chest was shattered by the power of the shock. Blood dripped, and even his internal organs could be seen. The hidden power of Su Fong's great perfection physical body was revealed by Luo Ji. The power of his punch was so terrifying. This punch not only seriously injured the first Supreme Elder, but also completely shattered the will of everyone, including the Lord of the Demon Realm. They were shocked, and their heads were rumbling. At this time, Su Fong was like a godlike existence in their hearts. Looking at Su Fong, their eyes were full of shock and fear. Su Fong's cold and sharp eyes swept over them. Let's go. All of them, including the first Supreme Elder, were trembling as they desperately fled. The first Supreme Elder and the Lord of the Devil Realm ran the fastest, like a group of stray dogs. Su Fong smiled domineeringly, and his momentum was like a rainbow, but he did not pursue. After a while, Su Fong used the Great Perfection ability and sensed the surroundings with the Heavenly Mandate Life shrinking technique. Finding that the Lord of the Demon Realm and the powerhouse of Heavenly Mandate Hao Tsang sect were out of the range of perception, Su Fong's spirit relaxed, and his momentum suddenly withered. He staggered, lost control of his body, and fell down. Su Fong just used all his strength to release the power of the world of yin and yang, and his true qi and energy were almost exhausted. Immediately afterward, Luo Ji used the Shura clan's body magical power to stimulate Su Fong's great perfection physical body potential. This was like a child, after being stimulated, bursting out the strength of an adult, the result was naturally not difficult to imagine. This time, Su Fang's consumption was much greater than the last time he confronted the will projection of the god of Feng Tianxindao. Brother, Su Fang released Bai Ling from the Jinlong realm. Seeing Su Fang's situation, Bai Ling's eyes were filled with tears, and he quickly released a divine power to protect Su Fang. Sister Bai, get out of here! Su Fang hurriedly swallowed the medicinal pills, which slowly recovered a little. Bai Ling knew that the danger was not over yet, and immediately transformed into his original body, carrying Su Fang and quickly leaving this area. If heaven's mandate how Tsang Sek's Supreme Grand Elder or the Devil Realm Lord came back, then there would be no chance to escape. Even if Luo had the ability to reach the sky, with Su Fang's current situation, it was impossible to burst out the earth-shattering blow just now. And Luo has not completely broken away from the shackles of the bloody cage, and only with the help of Su Fang's great perfection physical body can he display the body magical power of cultivation. Bai Ling flew out of the central immortal domain in one breath, shuttled through a galaxy, and stopped in a huge ruin in the depths of the galaxy. Su Fang had recovered a lot at this time, and after releasing the Wuling Goblin and putting Bai Ling into the Jinlong realm, the Wuling Goblin swallowed Su Fang into its stomach. Wuling Goblin turned into a stone belt more than 10 feet long, drilled into the depths of the ruins along the cracks, and found a naturally formed cave. Su Fang arranged more than a dozen fate runes of the Tianji life shrinking technique around the cave, and then put his hands together, and the runes shattered at the same time, and the power of the Tianji life shrinking technique hid the aura of the entire cave. Su Fang then took out Shu Yunkong's mobile Immortal's Cave, and then entered the Immortal's Cave. Because Su Fang had not integrated with the Immortal's Cave, he could only enter the outside of the Immortal's Cave at this time, and could not enter the depths of the Immortal's Cave. Master, sensing that Shu Yunkong's aura had become weak, Su Fang could not help but worry. Come on in. The array formation in the depths of the Immortal's Cave opened a passage, and Su Fang shuttled in. Seeing that Shu Yunkong was like a candle in the wind, about to fall at any time, Su Fang's heart sank to the bottom. At this time, Su Fang suddenly thought of his grandfather, which was his life's biggest regret, and his heart felt a burst of pain. However, Shu Yunkong's current situation, even a God Realm expert like him, was unable to save himself. What good method could Su Fang come up with? If I had known that Master would pay such a big price to deal with Sang Han, I would have immediately left Heaven's mandate how Tsang sect after the Immortal Devil Great War to avoid Sang Han's pursuit, and wait for the 9 Yang 9 transformations to reach the 6th transformation, and dual cultivate with Senior Shu Wanjin, and use the Origin Sacred Mirror. At that time, I would be able to kill Sang Han, but now, Su Fang's heart was filled with regret. Suddenly thinking of the mysterious woman Shu Wanjin, a glimmer of hope ignited in Su Fang. He hurriedly peeled off a young immortal and entered the depths of the Origin Sacred Mirror to send out a thought. Who knew that after calling for a long time, there was still no response from Shu Wanjin. It seemed that the last time her thought traveled through the divine mirror, it had consumed a lot of her, and now she was probably still cultivating to recover. Su Fang felt a burst of entanglement, pain, and a feeling of powerlessness. At this time, Luo's sharp voice was released from the blood jade. Su Fang, although I don't know the whole story, I have to warn you. Luo, it was my negligence. Luo's tone became even more severe. The path of cultivation is originally against the heavens. Who knows how many life and death separations you will face? Even some of the God Realm's experts. There are things that are difficult to change, let alone you. Although you have the supreme luck brought to you by the purple Qi Law spirit, it doesn't mean that you can control everything, and no disaster or tragedy will befall you. Cultivators should have an open-minded and unobstructed Tao heart. Everything should be based on the heart. If you blindly blame yourself, it will leave shackles in your heart and affect your future cultivation. This is absolutely unacceptable. Luo, I understand. Luo no longer advised, letting Su Fang comprehend by himself. If he said more, it would be counterproductive. At this time, Shu Yun-kong suddenly forced a smile. Su Fong, don't worry about Master. Master won't die for the time being. Su Fong's spirit was lifted. Master cultivates the time, reincarnation great Tao. There must be a way to save yourself. Shu Yun-kong slowly shook his head. The time reincarnation great Tao is incomparably profound. Master has only grasped a little bit of it, and Master's life is hanging by a thread. What can I do to save myself? Su Fong couldn't help but be disappointed. Who knew that Shu Yun-kong would then say, although Master can't save myself, I have a way to leave myself with a chance of survival. At this time, Shu Yun-kong was still keeping Su Fong in suspense, making him go from the sky to the ground. Master can use the time great Tao to seal everything in me, so that time will be in a static state on Master's body. In this way, Master can preserve a chance of survival, and there may be a chance to be resurrected in the future. Su Fong's eyes flashed with a light of hope. What kind of chance? Shu Yun-kong said weakly. This glimmer of hope is all on you and Wanjin. But the hope is very slim. =_ download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1675. And Apn novels and AP back in the divine world, I was too heavily injured and used the time reincarnation grand Tao to seal my injuries. This time, the seal is undone and the injuries can no longer be contained. Right now, Master is sealing not only my injuries, but also my entire body. It's as if time has stopped on Master's body. It's as if I'm dead. There's only a sliver of life left. If the seal is undone again, I will die without a doubt. My only hope is for you, or Wanjin, to cultivate the time, reincarnation grand Tao to the extreme and reverse time. Only then will I have a chance to survive. Reverse time? Su Fong's heart sank. What kind of strength would that require? The time reincarnation grand Tao was also a type of supreme, heavenly Tao. When cultivated to the extreme, one could activate the power of the time, reincarnation grand Tao, to stop time, and even reverse the flow of time, reversing what has already happened. This was the same as reversing the heavenly Tao's reincarnation. What kind of terrifying strength would that require? Shu Yun-kong said, wait until you or Wanjin's strength reaches the level of the divine world's lord and cultivate the time, reincarnation grand Tao to the extreme. Only then will there be a chance. The master of the god realm? Su Fong fell silent. He was now a cultivator of the divine world. His cultivation realm hadn't even reached the peak of the divine world. There was still a huge gap between him and the deity realm. How far was he from becoming the lord of the divine world? Every step on the path of cultivation was difficult. Every step he took, he would encounter shackles. The road was full of thorns, and the slightest mistake would lead to his death. Who could guarantee that their path of cultivation would be smooth sailing, that they would advance fiercely and fiercely? The sliver of hope Shu Yun-kong spoke of was equivalent to having no hope at all. Shu Yun-kong let out a disappointed sigh and said, with your talent and luck, it's only a matter of time before you reach the end of the world and ascend to the celestial realm. However, if you think that becoming a god is the end of cultivation and you don't even have the confidence and courage to become the master of a celestial realm, I have nothing to say. You can only wait for death. Su Fong's mind flashed with the scenes since he became Shu Yun-kong's disciple. Master took me in as a disciple. Although he had other motives, he treated me like his own son and protected me at all times. In order to save me, he didn't hesitate to die. It's all because of me that he fell into this state. In order to help Master recover, even if there's only a sliver of hope, I will do my best to fight for it. If I need to reverse the heavenly Tao, then I will go against the heavens. Even if the road ahead is full of twists and turns and thistles and thorns, I will bravely move forward. If I meet a god, I will slay a god. If I meet a devil, I will slay a devil, until I become a realm lord of the god realm. Seeing the determination in Su Fong's eyes, Shu Yun-kong smiled with relief. Then he took out 2 golden jade slips and gave them to Su Fong. These 2 jade slips, one of them contains Master's understanding of the great Tao of time reincarnation. You can start cultivating from a most basic 4 seasons reincarnation seal. The other jade slip is Master's Family Inheritance Secret Book. It's profound and vast. Even Master has only comprehended some superficial knowledge from it. Otherwise, Master's family wouldn't have declined and Master wouldn't have fallen into this state. Su Fong, although Master accepted you as a disciple, I didn't teach you anything. Before, you relied on yourself. The road of cultivation in the future will also depend on you. Work hard together with Wanjin. Master will wait for the day when you become supreme experts. Shu Yinkong nodded and smiled. Then, he formed a seal, and a mysterious aura of time reincarnation was released from his body. In an instant, Shu Yinkong's body and everything around him were in a state of stillness. His Zhen Qi, primordial spirit, life force, and everything else stopped. Master, this disciple will definitely not disappoint you. Su Fong knelt down to Shu Yinkong and kowtowed 3 times. Then his eyes showed determination. He turned around and left the room, sealing the room. Coming to a room next door, Su Fong settled down for a while and gradually calmed down. There was no more grief in his heart, no more fear, only determination and firm belief. Next, he began to settle into the state of cultivation and recover the previous huge consumption. This scene outside was clearly seen by Luo in the blood jade in Su Fong's body. Shu Yinkong's current state is no different from death. There's no hope for him to be revived. Even if one cultivates the great Tao of time and reincarnation to the extreme and possesses the strength of a world lord, it's still impossible. Those who stand at the peak of the divine realm do not have this ability. This person's strength is extraordinary. In the divine realm, he is also considered a strong person, and what he cultivates is the great Tao of time, reincarnation. How can he not understand that no one can save his injuries? But he said this to Su Fong. Obviously, he wants to set a goal for Su Fong to work hard and encourage Su Fong to continue to work hard. It can be said that he has good intentions. Su Fong can have such a master. It is also his good fortune. Luo sighed secretly, but did not reveal anything to Su Fong. And about 50 years have passed since then. In the outer space outside the great world, there is an independent plane. The light is dim, and the world is full of cold and dangerous aura. This is the demon realm. The demon race used to be the main force of the great world, representing the dark side. War after war with the righteous human world forced the demon race to constantly migrate from human territory. In the outer space outside the great world, they established the demon realm. In this great war of immortals and demons, the demon race walked out of the demon realm and invaded more than a dozen immortal realms. Large numbers of demons migrated to the newly conquered immortal realms, but the demon realm remained the center of their power. In a deep and bottomless abyss, demonic chi surged. It was like an ancient, vicious beast had opened its mouth, capable of swallowing the entire world. Huff, the lord of the demon realm and the holy son of the demon race, Ming Yin, passed through layers of dense demon chi until they reached the bottom of the abyss. Here, the demon chi condensed into liquid, converging into a huge lake with no end in sight. The lake water was dark and lifeless. Mingyan, are you sure you want to do this? To deal with Su Fong, you can ask the demon race to send powerhouses down. There's no need to take the risk yourself. The lord of the demon realm said coldly. Ming Yin said, I came from the devil realm to the outside world to help the demon race conquer the outside world. This is the mission given to me by my race, and also my trial mission. If I can't complete it, I'll be eliminated when I return to the God realm. I'll lose everything. Rather than that, I might as well make one last gamble. I must remind you that the 9-headed beast left behind by the demon god in the great world. Although it has been slumbering in the Demon Lake for countless years, its temperament is still incomparably violent. If you use my race's forbidden arts to possess it, you will gain unparalleled power over the great world. But if you fail, not only will you die, the 9-headed beast will also bring destruction to the demon realm. If Su Fong is not eliminated, it will be a disaster for the demon race. I've already made up my mind. Lord of the demon realm, there is no need for you to say anything more. The Lord of the demon realm pondered for a long time, then said decisively, Fine, that's all we can do. The Lord of the demon realm spread his hands apart, sending out a ray of black light that caused the waters of the demon lake to roar like waves. The bottom of the lake was gradually revealed, and a monster was also exposed in their line of sight. The monster lay at the bottom of the lake, only about 3 meters tall. It looked a little like a gorilla demon, but it had 3 pairs of hands and 9 heads. There was no aura coming from its body, making it seem like a dead creature. The monster's body was wrapped in thick iron chains. The dark iron chains were covered with mysterious magic runes. Not only that, but around the monster was a powerful seal formed by interweaving demonic runes. Ming-Yin walked step by step to the bottom of the lake. Just as the demon race was thinking of a way to deal with Su Fong, in a secret realm of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect, the first Supreme Elder was hiding in a secret room protected by layers of formations. He was also racking his brains to think of a way to deal with Su Fong. Given how the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect had treated Su Fong in the past, Su Fong would definitely not let the matter rest. If Su Fong was allowed to grow, whether or not the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect could maintain its position as the #1 faction of the Immortal Tao was secondary. Sooner or later, it would be destroyed by Su Fong. However, when he thought of Su Fong's terrifying strength that could shake the heavens and earth, First Supreme Elder shuddered. Su Fong isn't as strong as you think. He's the Grand Supreme Elder of the Heavenly Mandate Bright Heaven sect, a demigod expert. To think that he would be scared witless by an ant. How laughable. A cold voice suddenly sounded in the secret room. Then, the bloody light in the air flashed and condensed into the shadow of a primordial spirit. It was the Azura expert Sang Han. Greetings, my lord. The first Supreme Elder hurriedly cupped his fists in salute. Su Fong suddenly possessed the strength of a God Realm expert, but it wasn't because of his own strength. It was because the experts of my clan used a supreme, physical body divine ability to stimulate the potential of his body. That's why he was able to display the strength to crush a demigod expert like you in a short period of time. This kind of ability is used at the cost of overdrawing the physical body. There are huge repercussions. I estimate that Su Fong will not be able to recover without 10,000 years of secluded cultivation. It's even more impossible for him to have such strength again. Sang Han's words made First Highest Elder regret his decision, but he was also pleasantly surprised. This is your Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect's only chance to catch Su Fong. If you can't catch him and watch him grow, you and your Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect will be annihilated. The first Supreme Elder said, Many thanks for the reminder, my lord. I will issue the order to search for Su Fong's whereabouts. Sang Han's primordial spirit's shadow spoke in a cold voice. Don't be happy too early. Su Fong has a kind of supreme magical power that conceals his own aura. Once he uses it, even I find it difficult to sense his existence. It will not be easy for the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect to find his whereabouts. The first Supreme Elder said confidently, Rest assured, my lord, since the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect is known to represent the Heavenly Tao and control the Hao Tsang sect, they naturally have the supreme ability to control the world of immortals. Finding Su Fong is not difficult. =_ download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1676. In a previous great immortal demon war, Su Fong was able to escape from my detection right under my nose. Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect's ability may not be able to find his whereabouts. Sang Han shook his head. Clearly, he did not have much hope for the first Supreme Elder's words. My lord, you might not know this, but the 81 training halls of the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect were created by the experts of the God Realm when the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect was founded. It's called the Heavenly Net Formation. Once activated, it can borrow the power of the heavens. This one can use the power of the Heavenly Net Array and use Su Fong's aura as the source to capture his whereabouts. Unless he escapes to the demon realm, monster realm, or the ancient immortal demon battlefield, these dark and chaotic worlds, he will not be able to escape this one's senses. First Supreme Elder appeared very confident. Sangha nodded and said, "This array is not bad. Heaven's mandate how Tsang Sek's foundation is indeed incomparably deep. I hope we can quickly find Su Fang's whereabouts." Then, the First Supreme Elder's eyes flashed with a ruthless look. "If it is difficult to find Su Fang with the help of the Great Skynet Array, then we can only use some special methods." Sanghan said, "I will stay in Heaven's mandate how Tsang Sect for a period of time to recuperate. As long as you find Su Fang's whereabouts, immediately inform me." The First Supreme Elder was surprised and happy. "Sir, to be able to stay in Heaven's mandate how Tsang Sect is a great honor for me and Heaven's mandate how Tsang Sect. As long as we find Su Fang's whereabouts, we will certainly inform, sir. When the time comes, sir, please take action. It seems that you still have lingering fears about Su Fang. You need me to personally take action before you can be at ease." Sanghan's primordial spirit let out a burst of ridicule. The First Supreme Elder smiled embarrassedly, his old face blushing. Su Fang's world-shaking attack was really too frightening. Although Sanghan said it casually, how could the First Supreme Elder not have any misgivings? If Sanghan's judgment was wrong, and they finally found Su Fang, it would be tantamount to delivering meat to the tiger's mouth. At that time, they wouldn't be as lucky as last time. The sect master of the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect had been crippled by Su Fang. The entire sect was searching for Dao Hengtian in the greater world so that he could take over. If Sanghan made another mistake in his judgment this time, he was afraid that the Heavenly Mandate How Tsang Sect's First Supreme Elder would have to be replaced. "I know what you're worried about. Su Fang has obtained my clan's treasure, and there's a divine world expert sealed within it. He's a major criminal of my clan, and we can't let him escape. Even if the Heaven's Mandate How Tsang Sect doesn't do anything, I'll kill him and take back the treasure." Thinking that once Law got out of the Blood Jade, Sanghan's heart palpitated. Even when he thought of Law, an indescribable fear welled up in his heart. Not only him, but in the entire Shura clan of the Divine World, Law was also a formidable existence. "We must find his whereabouts before Su Fang recovers. I'll use the Shura clan's medicinal pills and forbidden techniques to restore my strength as soon as possible. When the time comes, we'll kill him at all costs. Once the matter is done, I might lend you a hand to break through the final shackles and take you to the Divine World. If you can't even do this well, there's no need for Heaven's Mandate How Tsang Sect to exist." Sanghan's primordial spirit's shadow burst out with a cold gaze and swept over the First Supreme Elder. The First Supreme Elder felt a murderous aura hit him in the face, almost suffocating him, and he couldn't help but tremble. Yes, the First Supreme Elder was pleasantly surprised. He was just one step away from stepping into the realm of true gods. However, this last step had become a heavenly moat that shackled his advancement. It would be difficult for him to break through in his lifetime. If he had the help of a divine man, he might really have the hope of taking this last step. As for Su Fang, the First Supreme Elder was confident that he would be able to find his whereabouts. With a flash of blood, Sanghan's primordial spirit's shadow disappeared without a trace. The First Supreme Elder didn't care about his injuries and immediately left the secret territory. He shuttled through the array, flew out of the outer layers of enchantments, and came to the sky. One after another, the First Supreme Elder struck out a series of earth-shattering seals. Boom, boom, boom. The 80 dojos of Heaven's Mandate How Tsang Sect, which was the 80 stars, plus the center of Heaven's Mandate How Tsang Sect, shook violently, and the mountains shook. The world's origin essence from the depths of the 81 dojos turned into starlight and flew out, converging together to form an incomparably bright galaxy in the sky. The First Supreme Elder once again formed a seal. The galaxy formed by the world's origin slowly flowed and moved, revealing the operation of the heavenly Tao, the evolution of thousands of supreme heavenly Tao aura, as if the whole world was condensed into this galaxy at this time. The first supreme elder's body revealed the will of the heavenly Tao, as if he represented the heavenly Tao, the supreme existence of the vast firmament. His deep eyes looked at the galaxy formed by the world's origin and the constantly changing galaxy, territory, mountains, and rivers in his pupils, as if at this moment everything in the world was seen through by him. Su Fong had lived in Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect for many years, so it was naturally easy to collect the aura he left behind. The first Supreme Elder used Su Fong's aura as the origin, and with the help of the divine power of the Tian Luo Great Formation, he captured the existence of Su Fong in the whole world, about the time it took to burn a stick of incense. I can't find the whereabouts of Su Fong. The first Supreme Elder's white eyebrows raised, feeling a little incredulous. Let's try again. The first Supreme Elder decisively used his magical power again to find the whereabouts of Su Fong. Buzz, buzz, buzz inside the ruins in the depths of the galaxy. Su Fong was sitting cross-legged in the Time Immortal's cave, cultivating. More than 50 years had passed in the outside world, but in the Immortal's cave, Su Fong had already spent more than 500 years. With the recovery ability of his Black Lotus True Body, Descending Dragon True Body, and Blood Transformation True Body, he had already recovered to his peak state. How could it be, as Sang Han had speculated, that it would take at least 10,000 years to recover? At this time, he was in the Immortal's cave, settling into a state of cultivation, cultivating various cultivation methods. Among the cultivation methods he cultivated, in addition to the 9 Yang 9 transformations, Heavenly Secret Life Taking Technique, Illusory Fire Cloud, Ethereal Truth, Yellow Spring Blood Sea, and so on, he also cultivated the Heaven's Divination Mysterious Solution and the 4 Seasons Reincarnation Seal. During this period of time, Su Fong had completely fused with half of the Earth's spirit fire of Frozen Dream's immortal body, successfully giving birth to the 51st Yang Meridian. At the same time, Su Fong was also constantly attacking the peak of the middle stage of the Tao realm. Buzz, 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 the first Supreme Elder used the Heaven's Net Formation to sense Su Fong's aura, urging the Tao runes of the Heavenly Secret Life Taking Technique to move in his divine aperture. At the same time, Su Fong also sensed through the Heaven's Divination Mysterious Solution that there seemed to be a pair of eyes in the unseen world, like the eyes of the Heavenly Tao, spying on his existence. The Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect really hasn't given up. The Tao runes condensed into the image of the first Supreme Elder in his divine aperture, startling Su Fong Da. Although there was the divine aura of the Heavenly Mystery Life Taking Technique in the cave, and the flow of time in the cave was different from the outside world, it was difficult to sense the situation in the cave. Su Fong still did not dare to be careless. He once again activated the Heavenly Mystery Life Taking Technique, concealing the aura inside and outside the cave, as well as his own. Just how extraordinary was the Heavenly Secret Life Taking Technique's ability to conceal aura. In this state, even if Shu Yunkong wasn't injured, it would be difficult to catch Su Fong's aura. Although the Heaven's Net Formation of the Heaven's Mandate, Hao Tsang sect, was powerful, it wouldn't be able to find his whereabouts. Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect, I, Su Fong, will sooner or later completely erase you from the outside world. Su Fong's heart was filled with killing intent. At this time, Luo had already fused with all the primordial spirits in the Blood Jade. He could use the Azura clan's divine ability to stimulate the potential of Su Fong's physical body, giving him the terrifying strength to kill a deity. However, this didn't mean that Su Fong could sweep across the outside world and become an invincible existence in the outside world. The Shura race's divine ability was performed at the cost of overdrawing the potential of Su Fong's perfect physical body. Overdrawing it once or twice didn't have much of an effect, but overdrawing it too many times would affect Su Fong's physical body, causing damage that would be difficult to recover from. It might even make it difficult for him to progress in his cultivation in the future. Moreover, Luo still hadn't been able to break through the shackles of the Blood Jade cage. It would take a long time for him to truly walk out of the Blood Jade. Therefore, Su Fong had no choice but to endure for a while and cultivate inside the cave. Before long, Su Fong wouldn't need to endure anymore. At that time, he would return everything that the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect gave him tenfold. Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. The first Supreme Elder failed once again and no longer had the confidence he had before. Because activating the formation consumed a lot of primordial spirit and true chi, it caused the injuries that were forcibly suppressed by the first Supreme Elder to erupt once again. Not only did the wound on his chest burst open, blood dyed his chest red, and his breath became sluggish. It's really as deity Sanghan said, Su Fong has the supreme divine ability to conceal his breath. Even the heavenly net formation can't capture his breath. It's also possible that Su Fong went to the demon realm, the ancient immortal devil battlefield, or other dangerous places, but this possibility is not big. The first Supreme Elder became nervous. If he couldn't find Su Fong when he recovered, he would have the terrifying strength to kill a demigod. At that time, who could contend against him? At that time, even the deity Sanghan would have no choice but to flee when he met Su Fong. It seems that I can only use that method. First Supreme Elder's deep eyes flashed with ruthlessness and cruelty. Evil Punisher, Han Su, come and see me. First Supreme Elder transmitted a primordial spirit below. After about 5 or 6 breaths of time, Yi Zichen's expression changed. A skinny old man and Dao Master Han Su came in front of the first Supreme Elder. The Patriarch of Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect was seriously injured by Su Fong and almost died. At this time, he was still recovering, and the affairs of the sect were temporarily handled by Dao Master Han Su. The skinny old man was called Evil Punisher. He was a Supreme Elder of Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. He looked like a skinny piece of wood, and his whole body exuded a cold and eerie aura. The first Supreme Elder said, Zhu Xia, go to the desolate immortal region where Su Fong used to be and invite his father and clansmen to the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect as guests. Yes, the evil extermination holy man smiled coldly, revealing a cruel smile. Equals underscore our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1677. APMB was powerful and ruthless. In a heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect, he was in charge of dealing with things that couldn't see the light of day. Wu Little speak. Of course, the first Supreme Elder didn't send him to the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect to invite Su Fong's father and clansmen to the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. Dao Master Han Su immediately tried to dissuade him. First Supreme Elder, you mustn't. The first Supreme Elder said in a low voice. Why not? Before the great war of immortals and demons, the sect master promised to protect the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect's family and friends. If the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect targets his family, it's treachery. What's the difference between that and the demon race and the evil Dao? Su Fong's reputation in the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect is at its peak. The sect used him as a hostage to force him to betray the sect. This has already caused many disciples in the immortal Dao world to complain about the sect. If we target Su Fong's family, what dignity does the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect have left to lead the immortal Dao world? What face does it have to exist in the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect? I didn't call you here for you to teach me a lesson. The first Supreme Elder said coldly and embarrassedly. Immediately spread the news to the 8 immortal domains. Su Fong's true identity is a puppet of the Azura race. He's evil and murderous. He betrayed the sect, killed the sect's elders, and colluded with the Yao realm. His crimes are unforgivable. Everyone in the immortal Dao world can kill him. Anyone who provides information and captures or kills Su Fong will be heavily rewarded. The first Supreme Elder's voice was filled with killing intent. First Supreme Elder, please reconsider. Dao Master Han Su urged. What? You dare to disobey even this Lord's orders? The first Supreme Elder said in a cold voice. Tao Master Han Su said with difficulty, "I will obey the first supreme elder's orders." Heaven's mandate how Tsang Sek's wanted portrait of Su Fong was quickly spread to the eight forces through various channels, and then quickly spread to every immortal city in the entire great world. The entire world was shaken. In the eyes of immortal Tao cultivators, Su Fong was the god who saved immortal Tao cultivators. His reputation was unparalleled. The Heaven's mandate how Tsang sect had actually placed a bounty on Su Fong in the outside world. This caused everyone to feel incomparably furious about what had happened to Su Fong. The APMB naturally did not believe the so-called crimes of Su Fong that Heaven's mandate how Tsang sect spoke of. Of course, there were some powers and cultivators who were willing to betray their parents for benefits. They were tempted by the Heaven's mandate, Bright Heaven's sect's reward. For a moment, the entire immortal Tao world began to stir. The immortal domain where the square heaven great world was located. Huangze astral realm. In the depths of the netherworld ruins. The independent void was filled with a black, cold aura. In the middle of a valley, there was a heart-shaped altar. Hundreds of thousands of cultivators sat cross-legged around the altar and inside it, not moving at all. A faint, blood-colored smoke gushed out from the cultivators' chests, converging into a blood-colored stream, and quickly converged towards the center of the altar. In the depths of the altar, there was a black light floating. There was a humanoid phantom in it. The blood-colored light converged from the outside and drilled into the black light. The phantom was not a life form like cultivators or demons, but a consciousness-type life form. The Lord of the Dark Realm, Night Demon. This lord has spent countless years in the depths of this dark nether earth ruins. Now I can finally walk out. The great world, with the appearance of this lord, will become Night Demon's world. A cold and embarrassed voice came out from the black light. APMB Chi. The black light shattered, and the black shadow floated out like a ghost. Asterisk, 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 few in the natural sky ravine at the edge of the immortal domain, a figure broke through the air. This was a skinny old man, his aura empty, his eyes cold and sharp. It was the great elder of the Heaven's mandate, how Tsang sect, the evil punisher holy man. Under the orders of the great elder, the evil punisher holy man shuttled through countless planes from the central immortal domain to the edge of the immortal domain where Su Fong used to be. Such a desolate immortal domain. To be able to produce such a peerless character like Su Fong, it's really hard to imagine. The evil punisher holy man stepped out of the natural sky ravine and arrived in the sky above a desolate immortal domain. Looking in the direction of the square heaven great world, he licked his lips, and a cold, murderous aura filled the air. Su Fong, no matter how extraordinary you are, when your father and relatives fall into this lord's hands, this lord will make you kneel and lick. At the same time, Wong, Su Fong, who was tens of immortal domains away from the square heaven great world, had a mysterious force that caused the yin-yang vortex in the depths of his mind, which was formed by the Tian Yin Xian Jishin scripture, to suddenly produce a huge movement. True characters flashed out, condensing into the outline of the square heaven great world above the yin-yang vortex. The entire square heaven great world was covered with a layer of shadow. There were countless blurry figures in the great world, and some of them were faintly shrouded in bloodlight. Father and the people of the Fong family. The ability of the heavenly secret life-taking technique to sense fate also caused Su Fong's heart to surge with a strong sense of foreboding. Father and the people of the Fong family are about to suffer a great disaster. Su Fong had merged with the origin of the square heaven great world, and the fate of his father and the people of the Fong family was connected to his. At this time, the square heaven great world, his father, and the people of the Fong family were about to face a life and death crisis, which allowed the heavenly secret life-taking technique to perceive the faintly discernible heavenly secret. Coupled with the ability of the heavenly secret life-taking technique to sense fate, it allowed Su Fong to sense it even though he was so far away. Who is targeting my father and the people of the Fong family and bringing them a great disaster? Zhu Huang, Tontian Demon Venerable, and the others have all returned to the Square Heaven Great World, and ordinary Dao Master experts can hardly threaten the safety of the Square Heaven Great World, unless it is a peerless expert above the high-level Dao realm. Regarding the safety of his father and the people of the Fong family, at this moment Su Fong's heart was in a mess, and he felt that he was trembling in ice. At this time, a voice came from the blood jade in his body. Previously, your ability of fate had once sensed that the first Supreme Elder was sensing your aura. At this time, who else could foresee that your father and the people of the Fong family are in danger? Except for the experts of the Tianming Hao Tsang sect, they can't find your whereabouts. So it is reasonable for them to use your father and the people of the Fong family as a hostage to force you to show up. The Tianming Hao Tsang sect is shameless to this extent. Su Fong abruptly stood up, his eyes burning with rage, and a thick, baleful aura surged out from his body. That's because the threat you pose to the Tianming Hao Tsang sect is too great. If they don't get rid of you as soon as possible, when you grow up, they will face the disaster of destruction. In order to achieve great things, what can they not do? I still underestimated how despicable and ruthless the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect is. If I had known this would happen, I would have taken care of the first Supreme Elder and the upper echelons of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect in one fell swoop. At that time, how could you have the strength to kill them? Luo, what should I do now? How to deal with this is still up to you. I won't give you too much advice. It will be detrimental to your growth. Su Fong took a deep breath and then slowly exhaled, calming his heart. After a while, he calmed down. Su Fong released the immortal demon monster and demon barbarian god from the true dragon world. Second primordial spirit, you and barbarian god, demon barbarian god, immediately go to the square sky great world and try to rescue father and the people of the Fong family. I will go directly to the Tianming Hao Tsang sect. If father and the people of the Fong family fall into the hands of the Tianming Hao Tsang sect experts, they will definitely return to the sect. At that time, it will be best if we can intercept them halfway. If not, if we can't save them in advance, I will directly kill my way into the Tianming Hao Tsang sect. If father and the people of the Fong family lose a head, I will pay with the head of the first Supreme Elder. Su Fong's murderous aura was like an evil god of death. The actions of the Heavenly Mandate Hao Tsang sect had thoroughly aroused his murderous intent. The Square Heaven Great World. In an area filled with star sand, a middle-aged man with a curly beard looked at the square sky great world from afar. His eyes flashed with a very strange gray and distorted light. I didn't expect the great world to undergo such a huge change. This middle-aged man with a curly beard was the lord of the dark world. To be precise, he was a human cultivator that Night Demon had possessed in the Nether-Earth ruins. My plan to dominate the great world will begin here. The curly-bearded cultivator laughed cruelly and was about to head straight for the square sky great world. Right at this moment, the curly-bearded cultivator suddenly stopped and looked into the depths of the vast star sand with shock in his eyes. A peak Dao realm expert. To think that such an expert would come to this desolate, immortal region in the corner of the great world. If I can possess him, the curly-bearded cultivator was both shocked and pleasantly surprised. Night Demon could control a cultivator's primordial spirit. After devouring the primordial spirit, she would occupy the cultivator's physical body and then slowly nibble away at the cultivator's heart. That was because the heart of any life was the source of life. Night Demon needed the essence of life as the source of existence and strength. A peak Dao realm cultivator was the peak existence of the great world. If he was devoured, the essence of life obtained would be even greater than the sum of an immortal domain. After all, the height of a peak expert in a great world was not something that could be surpassed by numbers. However, such an expert was obviously not so easy to control. Although the Lord of the Dark World was greedy, he was also very wary. The curly-bearded cultivator headed straight for the depths of the star sand. Apart from the evil Punisher, Holy Man, who else could it be that the Lord of the Dark World had his eyes on him? He had just broken through space and appeared in the star sand when he sensed the Lord of the Dark World residing in the curly-bearded cultivator. He could not help but grin. This person must be a cultivator of the square Heaven Great World. Supreme Grand Elder asked me to come to the square Heaven Great World to capture Su Fong's father and clansmen alive. Try not to alert the enemy. I can capture this person and investigate first. The evil Punisher Dao Master's figure flashed and instantly passed through the star sand. He came to the side of the curly-bearded cultivator and waved his hand. The curly-bearded cultivator's body flew over uncontrollably. The evil Punisher Dao Master used his right hand to press down on his head. Memory stripping, soul searching. The evil Punisher Dao Master smiled coldly and was about to search the curly-bearded cultivator's soul. The curly-bearded cultivator's eyes were like a bottomless abyss. Suddenly, a supreme gray distorted light flashed and was about to suck the evil Punisher Dao Master in. Novel and app and equals _ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1678. Damn it! How can there be a peerless master with such a powerful, primordial spirit in the square Heaven Great World? The divine aperture ocean of the evil slayer, Holy Man, was impacted. The young immortal trembled and almost collapsed. After all, he was a peerless master at the peak of the Tao realm, and the primordial spirit of the evil slayer Holy Man was also incomparably powerful. In such a critical situation, he quickly exerted the power of the primordial spirit to resist the impact of the night demon's primordial spirit, and then endured the pain of the primordial spirit's heavy injury and directly escaped into the void. The master at the peak of the square Heaven Great World is indeed not so easy to control, but it's not easy to meet a peerless master. How can I let you escape? The bearded cultivator smiled coldly, and an ethereal shadow floated out from between his eyebrows and floated into the void without any shackles. He abandoned his physical body and chased after the evil slayer Holy Man. The calamity of the square Heaven World dissipated into nothingness just like that. It seemed to be a coincidence, but in fact there was a cause and effect. When Su Fong left the square Heaven Great World, he used the purple Chi Dharma spirit and the divine life shrinking technique, as well as the way of the Emperor's mantra of the Tyrant Emperor, to bless the square Heaven Great World with the supreme fortune of dispelling misfortune and turning misfortune into blessings. When a disaster came to the square Heaven Great World, there was a fate that allowed the Lord of the Dark World and the evil slayer Holy Man to meet, thus resolving the great crisis of the square Heaven Great World. This was something that even Su Fong himself had not expected. The defensive measures he had left behind before he left had actually played a huge role at this critical moment. Fong Yaotian and the others in the square Heaven Great World did not realize that they had brushed shoulders with fatal danger. At the same time, outside the Tianming Hao Tsang sect, there was a huge material, which was a transit place that one had to pass to enter the Tianming Hao Tsang sect. In a remote and desolate valley at the edge of the material, in the thick dust, a speck of dust suddenly floated up and turned into a colorful lotus flower, from which Su Fong flew out. As soon as Su Fong appeared, the power of destiny began to seep out of him, causing him to become illusory. The Tianming Hao Tsang sect Supreme Elder would never have thought that Su Fong, whom he was chasing all over the world, would sneak under his nose at this time. With Su Fong's unpredictable abilities, it was easy for him to sneak into the depths of the Heaven's Mandate Celestial Land, the place where the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect's power was most concentrated. However, he had come to the Heavenly Fate Bright Firmament sect to prevent his father and clansmen from being captured. If he wanted to make a move, he could only do it outside the sect. Otherwise, he would regret it for the rest of his life if anything happened to his father or clansmen. How? Fong Ease Fong sect Great World. Fong Heaven Great Tianming Heaven Great Fong sect. Fong Sky Great Heaven. Su Fong was flabbergasted, and at the same time, he felt like a huge rock had been lifted from his heart. The prediction of the heavenly divination unravel and heavenly fate taking life technique would definitely not be wrong. Clearly, something unexpected had happened. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Su Fong used his great circle sensing ability, and at the same time, he also used heavenly fate taking life technique, extending it hundreds of thousands of li to sense the depths of the Tianming Hao Tsang sect. Due to the great distance and the obstruction of layers of formations and barriers, Su Fong could only vaguely sense the aura of destiny that had intersected with his destiny. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Sang Han. He actually came to the Tianming Hao Tsang sect. The Tao runes of destiny condensed into a blood-red, clothed person in his divine aperture, which shocked Su Fong Da. No wonder the Tianming Hao Tsang sect had the confidence to arrest Su Fong in the entire outside world. It turned out that he had colluded with Sang Han. Sang Han. Law's fierce voice came out from the blood jade, his hatred overflowing to the heavens. When I break through the shackles, the first person I will kill will be you. After waking up this time, Law did not tell Su Fong about his past. Clearly, he did not want to mention the deep hatred between him and his clansmen. However, Su Fong could also guess some clues. Law came from the Azura clan of the Myriad Heavens realm. His real name was clearly not Law. For some unknown reason, his clan had sealed his corporeal body and primordial spirit separately. Law's primordial spirit was shackled in the Azura clan's treasure, the Blood Jade, sealed in the outside world. Sang Han was specially sent to the outside world by the Azura clan to guard the place of seal. If the world had not changed, causing the seal to break and the Blood Jade to shatter, Law would have been shackled by the powerful seal and the Blood Jade's crimson cage, forever suppressed in the place of seal. At this time, all of Law's hatred for his clansmen was concentrated on Sang Han. Su Fong's eyes flashed with cold, killing intent. Law, why don't I kill my way into Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect and kill Sang Han by surprise? Although Sang Han was injured by your master, and his injuries were not light, he is still not someone you can contend against at this time. Even if you kill him, it will be difficult for you to escape the pursuit of Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. Sang Han is just an ant of the Azura clan. Taking care of him is something that will happen sooner or later. It is not worth taking this risk now. Su Fong dispelled the idea. Then, Su Fong released the Wuling Goblin, peeled off a young immortal to live in the Wuling Goblin's body, and went to the center of the matter to lurk near the space teleportation formation. As long as his father and clansmen were captured to Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect, Su Fong could immediately sense their existence and rescue them. He re-entered the true dragon realm, turned into a speck of dust, and landed in the thick dust. APMB, about 50 years have passed. In the time Immortal's Cave, Su Fong's original body, who was sitting cross-legged in the blood water, suddenly released a vibration of nothingness. Su Fong immediately revealed a pleasantly surprised expression, peeling off a young immortal and entering the yin-yang Dao wheel. He saw that the 52nd yang meridian was forming, and another yang meridian was successfully born. It is really too difficult to birth a yang meridian. 50 years have passed outside, but I have actually cultivated for more than 500 years in the Immortal's Cave. After such a long time of consolidation and cultivation, swallowing large amounts of vast yang pills and yin-yang immortal sky pills, and accumulating a large amount of pure yang energy, this yang meridian was born. Looking at the successful birth of the 52nd yang meridian, Su Fong wiped the sweat on his forehead and exclaimed in his heart that it was not easy. Having an additional yang meridian was a great thing. It meant that Su Fong's strength had increased, and he was one step closer to the 6th transformation of the 9 yang 9 transformations. Following that, Su Fong attacked again, and the 52nd yang meridian finally calmed down and fused with the other 51 yang meridian, forming a yin-yang Dao well made up of 52 yang meridian. With an additional yang meridian, not only did the yang meridian's total quantity and weight change, the yin-yang Dao wheel also became more profound, giving Su Fong a feeling that it was as vast and mysterious as the universe. Next, he began to attack the 53rd Yang Meridian. Another 70 or 80 years passed in the blink of an eye, and Su Fong spent nearly 1,000 years in the Time Immortal's cave. Su Fong had never experienced such a long period of closed-door cultivation, so much so that when Su Fong walked out of the Time Immortal's cave, he had a feeling that it was a lifetime ago. Su Fong's current state was described by the saying, "Cultivation knows no time." After such a long period of consolidation, Su Fong's cultivation had finally reached the peak of the middle level of the Tao realm, and he could advance to the high level of the Tao realm at any time. His other true forms, cultivation methods, and divine abilities had all improved greatly. Because the Time Immortal's cave was too small, Su Fong could only leave Bai Ling and Yu Miaomei in the Time Immortal's cave to cultivate, but the others did not have this treatment. Bai Ling was now about to reach the peak of the Demon Emperor realm, mainly due to the Chaos Inheritance, Su Fong's endless supply of various resources, and she had also fused with the World Fragment, so her cultivation speed was naturally unbelievably fast. Yu Miaomei's transformation was even greater. The little girl of the past had now grown into a lovely and charming young girl, and she was even more mischievous. Yu Miaomei's cultivation realm had already reached the peak of the mystic immortal realm, and her comprehension of the ethereal true solution was far beyond Su Fong's. The Wuling Goblin is back, and the second primordial spirit is back. Su Fong suddenly sensed a stone belt appearing in the valley, and it was the Wuling Goblin that he had sent out to monitor. Su Fong immediately walked out of the Immortal's cave, activated the True Dragon Realm's magic treasure, and drew the Wuling Goblin into the True Dragon Realm. The Wuling Goblin spat out a figure, which was the immortal demon monster. Su Fong impatiently asked, "What's the current situation of the Square Heaven Great World?" The second primordial spirit said coldly, "When Demon Venerable Barbaric God and I returned to the Square Heaven Great World, we did not discover any abnormalities. For safety's sake, I brought out all the close relatives and friends of the main body." Su Fong was pleasantly surprised. "You brought father and the rest?" Swish, swish, swish. The second primordial spirit took out the demonic saber and released figures from the Tao artifact's internal world. Su Yaotian, Xianin Tian, the Fong clan members, Li Ziqing, Lan Haicheng, Xiao Mei Su Jinhua, and the others, and the only powerful big goblin left was Zhu Huang. The second primordial spirit continued, "In the Square Heaven Great World, I left behind the heavenly demon Venerable, Undying Turtle, and other powerful big goblins. I also secretly left Demon Venerable Barbaric God in the Square Heaven Great World. As long as it is not a demigod expert, they will not be able to threaten the Square Heaven Great World, so the main body can rest assured." The people close to Su Fong were all moved away, and the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect would not be so bored as to attack the Square Heaven Great World, leaving behind the heavenly Demon Venerable and Undying Turtle to guard the Square Heaven Great World, especially the ancient Great Demon Venerable Barbaric God, was enough to ensure the safety of the Square Heaven Great World. Second Primordial Spirit, you've done a good job. I now have the strength to protect my family and friends, and it is most reassuring to bring them to my side. Su Fong was finally able to put his heart at ease. "Father," seeing Fong Yaotian again, seeing Xianin Tian, Li Ziqing, and the others again, those familiar faces, Su Fong's heart surged. When everyone saw Su Fong again, it was like a dream. Zhu Huang and other big goblin, who had returned to the Square Heaven Great World before, had already spread Su Fong's deeds in the central immortal domain widely, making everyone feel shocked and incredulous. After leaving the Square Heaven Great World, on the way to meet with Su Fong, everyone learned from the second primordial spirit that Su Fong had turned the tide in the immortal demon Great War and betrayed to save the immortal Tao world, which was even more shocking. Su Yaotian, Xianin Tian, and others, no one had ever doubted Su Fong's future achievements, but no one had ever thought that Su Fong could grow to such a height, which was completely beyond their imagination. Su Yaotian looked at Su Fong, and his expression was a little absent-minded for a while. It was difficult to connect the Su Fong in front of him with the waste boy in the small world who couldn't cultivate, and his heart was filled with emotion. Equals underscore our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1679. After settling down in the true long realm, they will spend a long time in the true long realm. Although it is not a long-term plan, Su Fong can't think of any other good ideas at this time. Wu Little said she and Xin had gone to the myriad heavens god world, and after this incident, Su Fongyue realized how precious family and friend were. Therefore, Su Fong specially separated a blood clone to live with his father, Xianin Tian, and other relatives and friends. Especially Xiao Mei Su Fong has not been able to find a way to restore her, so he can't help but feel a little guilty. He often contacts her, hoping to get closer to her. Father, clansmen, and friends have all come to my side, and all of Law's blood jades have been gathered. Look at Law's current situation. Su Fong peeled off a young immortal, shuttled through layers of blood-light formations, and entered the depths of the blood jade. 10 feet away from the blood-colored cage, he communicated with Law in the cage. The blood-colored cage was still burning. After Law's continuous impact, cracks appeared on it, and the burning blood-colored flame became much dimmer. If Law wants to fuse all of his primordial spirits into one, he must fuse with the blood jade. Therefore, the blood-colored cage also became a hole, shackling Law inside. However, after the blood-colored cage was broken once, the shackles were far less powerful than before. Coupled with the loss of the powerful sealing power of the sealed place, it was only a matter of time before Law's primordial spirit broke out of the shackles and regained freedom. The compass sat cross-legged in the center of the cage, becoming one with the cage and flames around it. As it continued to burn, there were no longer any chains on its body. Its body that seemed to be made from blood also became more real, releasing a majestic aura of life and an astonishing aura of slaughter. Su Fong said, "Law, how long will it take for you to break through the shackles of the blood-colored cage?" Law said with a smile, "In your master's time cave, it will be at least thousands of years, at most tens of thousands of years. Don't worry, I have been sealed for countless years, and I thought that I would never be able to get out. It was a mere tens of thousands of years. Besides, I am now a primordial spirit body. There's not much difference between staying in the cage and staying outside. At the very least, it will take thousands of years. Is there no other way to help you get out as soon as possible?" Su Fong felt that time was too long, so he seized every moment. It's not that there is no way, but it is difficult to find in the great world. I have been sealed in the blood jade for too long, and the blood jade is broken my primordial spirit, which has caused quite a lot of damage. If there is a treasure of heaven and earth that can make my primordial spirit quickly, then the time for me to get out of the cage will be greatly shortened. Does the Dark Origin Pearl have any effect on you? The Dark Valley Origin Bead was a Yuan Shun-type magic treasure. Not only could it release Yuan Shun attacks and defensive skills, it could also nourish the Yuan Shun with the help of the magic treasure, making the Yuan Shun stronger and stronger. The Dark Su Fong's primordial spirit was even more powerful than the heavenly devil blood plate. Even in the universe, it was a rare primordial spirit magic treasure. Because of the Dark Su Fong's primordial spirit, the second primordial spirit's power had increased rapidly, and now it had surpassed the peak of the Tao realm. The primordial spirit of the Azura race is different from that of cultivators. The Dark Su Fong's primordial spirit is not very useful to me. It is best if it is the blood essence of a god and the blood of a god's heart. Because the heart is the root of any life, the blood of the heart contains the purest life essence. It can help my primordial spirit recover quickly, and it will be much easier to break out of the blood-colored cage. Of the blood of a god's heart, Su Fong smiled bitterly. Sang-Han was the only god in the great world. Su Fong could defeat him with Law's ability, but now he was already on guard against Su Fong. It was very difficult to kill him, let alone take his blood. After ending the conversation with Law, Su Fong kept his young immortal and flew out of the true dragon realm. Now that he had no more worries, it was time to give Tianming Hao Tsang sect a taste of their own medicine. Tianming Hao Tsang sect. Although it had been a false alarm this time, Su Fang's hatred for the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect had reached an unimaginable level. Tianming Hao Tsang sect dares to treat me like this because I am not strong enough. When I was weak, they saw me as an ant, and they wantonly bullied and killed me. When I showed amazing talent, they wanted to control you and make you their slave to be used by them. If I did not obey, they would either suppress me until I obeyed or kill me. Even my family and friends were not spared. Moreover, they want to give me a reputation of being evil and cruel and suppress me openly. The Yellow Spring Great Emperor was an obvious example. When he was punished by the heavens and fell, the immortal Tao, under the banner of eradicating evil, did not even let off the women and children of the Yellow Spring immortal world. Only when I have absolute strength will they respect me, fear me, and flatter me. Although I do not have absolute strength to suppress Tianming Hao Tsang sect, I have the ability to make you feel afraid. Don't you claim to represent the heavenly Tao, to rule the fate of all living beings, and to control the heavens? Then I, Su Fang, will overturn your sky. If there is a grudge, I will take revenge. If there is a grudge, I will take revenge. You tarnish my reputation, chase me all over the world, and didn't even let off my family and friends. I, Su Fang, will not endure and be a coward. Even if I can't kill the venerated elder, I will kill a few of the upper echelons until you all tremble in fear. Not only that, one day, I will completely erase Tianming Hao Tsang sect from the outside world. Su Fang looked at the depths of the heavenly mandate immortal earth, and his eyes exuded a cold, killing intent. He was actually planning to infiltrate the heavens mandate Hao Tsang sect and take revenge on them in the most ruthless manner possible. Second nascent spirit, try to control a Tianming Hao Tsang sect cultivator. That's easy. The second nascent spirit responded coldly, and with a whoosh, it drilled out of Su Fang's forehead and disappeared into the valley. In less than half a day, a fat Tianming Hao Tsang sect cultivator flew over to the valley. The fat cultivator landed in front of Su Fang and opened his mouth to speak in a voice identical to Su Fang's. This lord is controlling one. Although this person's cultivation is only at the 9th Tao, Saint Immortal Realm, his status is extraordinary. He is the Tianming Hao Tsang sect's steward in charge of receiving distinguished guests. From his memories, I learned that he went out to purchase all kinds of materials in order to welcome the arrival of the Devil Race's diplomatic corps. Receive the Devil Envoy? The Devil Race is the mortal enemy of the immortal Tao, and now they have come to Tianming Hao Tsang sect openly and are treated as distinguished guests. How ironic. It looks like the alliance between Tianming Hao Tsang sect and the Devil Race is finally settled. I'll have to change my plan a little. Su Fang smiled mockingly. The plump manager, whose body had been taken over by the second primordial spirit, shot out a beam of mystic light from his right palm, enveloping Su Fang and taking him into his body. Then, he went straight to the palace in the center of the material and passed through the formation toward the interior of Tianming Hao Tsang sect. The place where Tianming Hao Tsang sect received the Devil Envoy was a divine ruin floating in the depths of Tianming celestial land. This material was a palace left behind by a god from the upper realm in a great world. It was moved to Tianming celestial land by Tianming Hao Tsang sect's supreme ability and was specially used to receive important guests. The Heavens Mandate Hao Tsang sect clearly attached great importance to this alliance. They spent a lot of effort to entertain the demons. The palaces were decorated with gold and jade, and the mountains, forests, and all kinds of buildings in the divine ruin had been refurbished with divine abilities. Everywhere was overflowing with light and color, and it was magnificent. The fat steward who was possessed by the second nascent spirit smoothly entered the training hall and went to the storehouse behind the divine ruin to hand over the various materials he bought. In the storehouse, there were countless spiritual items, medicinal herbs, and some powerful shackled big goblin. They were all placed here to be refined and processed before being used to receive the Devil Envoy. Among them, There was an Earth-type demon monkey that had reached the level of a demon overlord. However, it looked very old and was on the verge of death. Its aura was extremely weak, and its primordial spirit was also destroyed. His second primordial spirit controlled the fat manager and asked him a question. This demon monkey's strength had reached the peak of high-level Dao realm back then. It was suppressed by Tianming Hao Tsang's sect long ago and wanted to subdue it as a puppet. However, this demon monkey was rebellious and refused to submit. It was sealed alive until now and was on the verge of death. It would rather die than submit. When the experts of Tianming Hao Tsang's sect found it, it was already a primordial spirit. Fortunately, it was stopped in time. Otherwise, even its physical body would have been destroyed. This time, in order to receive the devil envoy, Tianming Hao Tsang's sect took out this demon monkey and prepared to use its physical body as food for the devil envoy. In my extinguishing soil, there's still the spiritual sense of a demon monkey from the god realm. Now, I've encountered a demon overlord. It seems like demon monkeys are all stubborn people who would rather die than submit. It's worthy of respect. Su Fong sighed in his heart. Su Fong borrowed the fat steward's vision and saw the various spiritual items and materials piled up into a mountain, as well as the dying demon monkey. His heart was burning with passion. During these days of cultivation, except for pills, all the spiritual items and resources he had accumulated in the past had been consumed. It was a time when he was embarrassed. If he didn't take so many spiritual items and materials, he would be letting himself down. Since you finished your task, why aren't you leaving? The Tianming Hao Tsang sect's grand elder in charge of this place coldly shouted at the fat steward. The fat manager trembled as he hurriedly retreated from a storeroom. At this time, another old man with a goatee walked into the storehouse. It was a grand elder. Although Su Fong had never crossed paths with him before, they had met several times. The fat manager moved to the side, and the old man with the goatee walked into the storeroom without consulting anyone. These 3 drops of flame-chilling beast's heart blood are extremely precious. You must keep them well. When the time comes, we will use them to receive the devil envoy, Ming Yan. Have the alchemist place them in a pill cauldron and carefully refine them. This is the refining method. The goateed grand elder handed over a storage ring to the grand elder, gave him some instructions, and then left in embarrassment. Flame-chilling beast? Inside the fat steward's body, Su Fong heard the grand elder's words, and his eyes suddenly shone with astonishment. Novels and novels equals _ our download address. Mobile reading. Bibliographic review. Chapter 1680. And Appin Chapter 1699. Returning to the old place, the flame-scaled beast. Su Fong transmitted his primordial spirit to Law, who was in the depths of his blood jade. Law, the flame-scaled beast, should be a divine beast of the myriad heavens. Will the blood of the flame-scaled beast's heart help you? The flame-scaled beast has a part of the bloodline of the legendary divine beast Qilin. It is indeed a divine beast of the myriad heavens. Its heart blood will be of great help to my recovery. Heaven's mandate, Hao Tsang's sect, really has a deep foundation. They even have the heart blood of such a divine beast. Law responded with certainty, making Su Fong very happy. The flame-scaled beast was a divine beast, and it was not an ordinary divine beast. Its heart blood contained an astonishing amount of life essence, which would definitely be of great help to Law's primordial spirit. Law then sighed with emotion. Su Fong, I really didn't expect that being with you, even my luck would become better. I just told you that the heart blood of a divine being could help me break through the shackles. Now the heart blood of the divine beast flame-scaled beast has appeared. You have been sealed for so many years. It's time for the bitterness to end and the sweetness to come. Su Fong chuckled, feeling very happy for Law. Then he smiled coldly and embarrassedly. The flame-scaled beast and that demon monkey. So many spiritual items and materials, and the heaven's mandate, Hao Tsang sect, is willing to take them out to entertain the demon race. How generous! Since I saw them, wouldn't it be bad for my luck if I didn't take them? Leaving the storehouse, the second primordial spirit controlled the fat steward and followed the goateed Great Elder. The Great Elders of Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect all reached the peak of the high stage of the Tao realm. In terms of seniority, they were one generation higher than the sect master. All of them were top figures of Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. If they could kill this goateed old man, it would definitely shake Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. Su Fong followed the goateed Great Elder from afar. After walking for a short distance, a middle-aged cultivator with an elegant appearance came forward to greet him. The old man with the goatee said imposingly, "Has everything been settled?" Reporting to Grand Elder Chang's son, the 100 female cultivators serving the Devil Race's diplomatic corps have all been prepared. All of them are unparalleled beauties from the Great Taoist rite. I guarantee that the Devil Race's powerhouses will be satisfied. The Grand Supreme Elder with the surname Zhang's son nodded. If this matter is handled well, you, as the acting Supreme Elder of the Jihong Training Ground, will be able to take charge of the Jihong Training Ground, and the Jihong Star will be named after you. The elegant middle-aged cultivator was overjoyed. Great Elder's Mandate Hao Tsang sect, Great Elder Chang Sunday, the Heavens Tao, Great Elder Chang Dojo. Su Fong's son Fong said, Great Ten Dojo is dojos. If these women can make the experts of the demon race envoy happy in exchange for benefits for the sect, it can be considered atonement. The elegant middle-aged cultivator nodded again and again. Great Elder Chang's son is right. The clans of these women previously submitted to Su Fong and allowed them to become embryos of the demon race. They only have themselves to blame. The sect is already merciful for not exterminating their clans. The conversation between the two was clearly heard by Su Fong in the fat steward's body in the distance with great perfection hearing. Boom! Su Fong's heart suddenly burned with a ball of anger. Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang's sect, the dignified leader of the righteous path, actually had the sect's female cultivators serve the demon race. The so-called service naturally wasn't as simple as simply entertaining the demon race with food and drink. Rather, it was offering them to the demon race and becoming embryos for the demon race to breed their descendants. Such a cold-blooded and cruel sect made Su Fong feel disgusted. These women were implicated because of Su Fong. Since he encountered them, he naturally wouldn't sit idly by. The old man with the goatee ended his conversation with a middle-aged cultivator and flew towards the depths of the Heaven's Mandate celestial land. Great Elder Chang's son, please wait. I have something important to report. Sensing that there was no one around, Su Fong immediately sped up to catch up. What's the matter? Great Elder Chang's son had some impression of the fat steward and raised his eyebrows. The fat steward came in front of him and deliberately lowered his voice. I just heard that someone has the idea of the flame-scale beast's heart blood. Great Elder Chang's son flew into a rage. What? The flame-scale beast's heart blood is an important item to entertain the demon race's holy son. Who dares to have ideas about it? Courting death. Tell me, who has the guts to do so? This person is... The fat steward came in front of Great Elder Chang Sunday. All of a sudden, a supreme gray distorted light shot out from the fat innkeeper's eyes. A young immortal aura as vast as the ocean directly poured into Great Elder Chang's son's aperture ocean. If this was Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect, and the fat steward was a lowly steward with a pitifully low cultivation realm. How could Great Elder Chang's son have the slightest bit of guard against him? He was caught off guard. The second primordial spirit borrowed the Dark Valley Origin Pearl's primordial spirit aura to forcefully and domineeringly break through Great Elder Chang's son's divine aperture defenses and instantly cover the entire primordial spirit ocean. Chi! Streaks of primordial spirit soared, Qi covered the sky, and engulfed Grand Elder Zhangsuin's young immortal. After 4 or 5 breaths, Great Elder Chang's son's body stopped trembling. He suddenly opened his eyes and said, Main body, I've already erased this person's young immortal. This goateed, old man's cultivation realm had reached the peak of high-stage Tao realm, and was a peak existence in the great world. But now, his young immortal was easily erased by the second primordial spirit. The primordial spirit aura of the second primordial spirit was terrifying. Of course, this old man's lack of guard was one reason. The Dark Valley Origin Pearl's powerful primordial spirit attack was another important reason. Su Fong's cold voice came from the fat steward's body. Very good. You will temporarily reside in this person's body and use this person's identity to turn heaven's mandate, Hao Tsong's sect, upside down. Grand Elder Zhang's son swept the fat innkeeper and Su Fong into his body and headed straight for the Great Still Dojo. The scholarly middle-aged cultivator had just returned to the main peak of Great Dojo and hadn't even warmed up his seat when he heard the news of Great Elder Chang's son's arrival. Although he felt it was strange, he still respectfully welcomed the goateed old man into the palace. Grand Supreme Elder Zhang's son said majestically, "The female cultivators prepared for the devil race's diplomatic corps are very important. This seat has thought about it from left to right, but I still feel a little uneasy. Call them up and let this seat take a look." The scholarly middle-aged cultivator immediately flattered. "Great Elder Chang's son is so responsible. You're truly a role model for the entire Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsong's sect to follow. This one will immediately call all of them over." Grand Elder Zhang's son continued, "Call all the clan leaders of their clans over as well." Yes, the scholarly middle-aged cultivator excitedly walked out of the palace. This person's cultivation had reached the middle stage of the Dao realm. In Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsong's sect, there were many cultivators with this cultivation level. However, only a few of them could truly become the supreme of a dojo. Since Venerable Ji Hong and Su Fong had betrayed Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsong's sect, Great Dojo naturally changed owners. This person spent a Herculean effort and used up all of his assets to open up the connections and finally obtain the position of acting sovereign of still great Taoist right. There was naturally a huge difference between acting supreme and true supreme. The middle-aged cultivator was trying to think of a way to remove the word acting. He didn't expect that this was a heaven-sent opportunity to form a relationship with Great Elder Chang Sunday. As long as he handled things well, it would naturally be easy to become the supreme of Great Elder Chang Sunday, after the time it took for an incense stick to burn. The middle-aged cultivator and Great Dojo cultivator brought 100 female cultivators to the palace. These female cultivators all had their primordial spirits and golden cores shackled, making it difficult for them to circulate their true chi. They all knew what kind of fate they were about to face. Some had a numb expression, some had a furious expression, and most of them were in complete despair. Among these female cultivators, Su Fong saw two familiar faces. One of them was Zizhan, who used to be in charge of the main peak of Great Dojo. She used to specialize in handling daily affairs for Venerable Ji Hong and was rather trusted by him. He didn't expect her to be reduced to such a state. There was also a young girl who Su Fong had a very deep impression of. She was Duan Xiuxiu of Great Dojo's Duan family. When Su Fong had just arrived at Great Dojo, the old ancestor of the Duan family had accompanied the Dongyang family to the main peak to force him to abdicate. In the end, they were suppressed by Su Fong, and the old ancestor of the Duan family was also shackled by Su Fong. When Duan Xiuxiu boldly stood out, Su Fong felt that this girl was very shrewish and released the old ancestor of the Duan family. Duan Xiuxiu stubbornly looked at the old man with the goatee with an unyielding and angry expression. Borrowing the Grand Elder's vision, Su Fong couldn't help but secretly smile when he saw this girl's expression. He admired this girl very much. A little while later, the clan leaders of the 12 great families of Great Dojo all arrived at the palace. When they saw Grand Elder Chang's son, they all trembled in fear, thinking that the destruction of their families was about to descend upon them. Their hearts were filled with despair. The scholarly middle-aged cultivator said, "Grand Elder, the clan leaders of the 12 great families and the 100 selected girls are all here. Grand Elder Chang's son, please come down." "Very good. You're very efficient. This seat is very gratified." Grand Elder Chang's son nodded and then waved at the middle-aged cultivator. The scholarly middle-aged cultivator didn't understand and quickly walked over. "You're so capable. This seat will reward you heavily." Grand Elder Chang's son reached out his right hand and patted the middle-aged cultivator's shoulder. The scholarly middle-aged cultivator's bones instantly softened a bit. His face was as bright as a blooming flower. Grand Elder Chang's son revealed a smile and raised his left hand. APMB Chi. A ray of sword chi shot out from his palm and shot through the scholarly middle-aged cultivator's forehead. It then shot out from the back of his head and brought out a spray of gray matter. Everyone in the palace was stunned by this sudden turn of events. Right at this moment, boom! A world god's aura exploded from Grand Elder Chang's son's body and covered the entire palace. Puff, 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 under the shackles and pressure of the majestic world god's aura, the bodies of the middle-aged cultivator in the palace suddenly exploded. No one was spared. The clan leaders of the 12 great families of Great Dojo and the 100 female cultivators were all stunned and completely turned into pieces of wood. Whoosh! Su Fong came out of Grand Elder Chang's son's body and said, "Everyone, don't panic, I'm Su Fong." =R download address. Mobile reading, bibliography. Chapter 1681. And Appen Chapter 1710. Obtaining the heart blood of the flame-scale beast, Su Fong? Xiao Zun. It's really Xiao Zun. Xiao Zun has personally come to save us. Greetings, Xiao Zun. Everyone reacted and knelt on the ground. They were so excited that they almost thought they were dreaming. Duan Xiuxiu's eyes shone with excitement and passion as she stared at Su Fong with eyes full of worship. Su Fong unleashed a burst of divine might and lifted everyone up. Looking at the women, Su Fong said, "You've been implicated by me and ended up in this situation. Since I've encountered you, I naturally won't sit idly by. If you're willing to come with me, I'll take you away from the heavenly fate Haotsong sect." The 100 women were pleasantly surprised. How could they not agree to being able to escape the clutches of the demons and escape the miserable fate of becoming embryos? At this moment, Law sent a message to Su Fong through the blood jade in his body. "Su Fong, are you planning to expand your harem while Xuanxin isn't by your side?" "That's right. You should have done this long ago. Wang Yuzhen, Huang Fufei, Lan Haicheng. Don't leave out a single one. Take them all into your harem. Only then will you have the style of a great world's overlord." Ahem, ahem. Su Fong was careless and almost choked on Law's words. Ignoring the frivolous Law, Su Fong then said to the patriarchs of the 12 families, "If you're willing, I can also take away all the members of the 12 families of the Silent Great Planet, but you absolutely can't leak any information. Otherwise, it will bring disaster to your entire clan." Due to the relationship between the Silent Great Planet and the Silent Great Immortal Sovereign and Su Fong, the 12 families of the Silent Great Planet have been very miserable these years. They have been repeatedly oppressed and humiliated by the middle-aged cultivator acting as the sovereign. This time, they were even forced to hand over their most outstanding women to serve the demons. It wouldn't be long before that scholarly middle-aged cultivator completely controlled the Silent Great Dojo, and the 12 families would be swallowed up sooner or later. However, with the power of the heavenly fate Haotsong sect, no matter how big the great world was, there was no place for them to stay. Su Fong wanted to take them away from the Silent Great Planet and escape from this abyss of suffering. How could they be unwilling? The patriarchs of the 12 clans agreed one after another, deeply grateful to Su Fong. Su Fong made arrangements for the 12 families of the 12 families of the Silent Great Planet, Su Fong, and Su Fong Fong, Su Fong 4, Su Fong, and Su Fong, and Su Fong. At the same time, he also left Bai Ling, Zhu Huang, and the other powerful great demons, as well as a dozen immortal venerables under his command on the Silent Great Star to help the 12 families secretly migrate to the true dragon world. Just as Su Fong was about to enter his second primordial spirit to control Grand Elder Zhongxuan's body, Zifan suddenly asked, "Xiao Zun, is Lord Sovereign doing well?" Thinking about his master's current situation, Su Fong's expression dimmed. He put Z Fan into the time and space immortal abode. She was Grand Elder Zhongsuan's old friend, so Su Fong had to take special care of her. After Grand Elder Zhongsun put Su Fong into his body, he once again returned to the divine site to receive the demons. He arrived above the divine site. Just as he was about to enter the divine site, buzz, 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 his great perfection ability sensed that hundreds of cultivators were flying towards the divine site. Among them, there were a dozen demon cultivators from the demon world. 2 demon cultivators were surrounded by the crowd like stars surrounding the moon. One of them was a tall and fierce young demon cultivator. He had the strength of a mid-stage Dao realm cultivator. He wore a dark golden robe and had an air of arrogance about him. From this demon's body, Su Fong sensed an aura of the same origin as the master of the devil world and the young master of the devil race, Qi Ming. From this, he judged that this young cultivator of the devil race should be the son of the master of the devil world. The other demon cultivator in the center of the crowd was none other than the holy son of the demon race, Ming Yan. What shocked Su Fong was that Ming Yan gave Su Fong a completely different feeling than before. There seemed to be an incomparably powerful existence hidden within his body, causing his aura to become extremely violent and evil. Su Fong felt that Ming Yan was even more terrifying than the demon world's master. The demon world has countless evil techniques, and Ming Yan is from the demon world. I must be careful when encountering him this time. Su Fong secretly raised his guard. His second primordial spirit controlled Grand Elder Zhongsuan's body and entered the divine site, heading straight for the storehouse at the back. Due to the arrival of the demon world, all the experts of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect had gone to the front palace. Aside from a Grand Elder guarding the storehouse, there were no other experts present. Grand Elder Zhongsun, why are you here? One of the elders guarding the storehouse was surprised to see Grand Elder Zhongsun appear again. What, I can't come? Grand Elder Zhongsun asked imposingly. The Grand Elder hurriedly said, I wouldn't dare. Great Elder Zhongsun walked into the storehouse. His eyes swept over the inside of the storehouse, and he said indifferently, the devil race's diplomatic mission has arrived. The banquet will begin soon. Great Elder ordered this seat to come and check the situation. Call everyone here. This seat has something to say. Yes, the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect had a strict hierarchy. How could a Grand Elder dare to disobey an order? The 100 experts guarding the storehouse, as well as the alchemists, chefs, and servants, were all summoned. Su Fong activated his great circle of perfection in Grand Elder Zhongsuan's body. After sensing for a while, he found that there was no one else in the storehouse. Only then did he transmit to his second primordial spirit, you may begin. Grand Elder Zhongsun and Ming Yan of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect are in the front palace. This time, we must strike without any disturbance. The second primordial spirit replied coldly, only this Dao realm Grand Elder is a bit troublesome. The others are nothing to fear. I'll first use the power of the world of yin and yang to cover the storehouse. You use your primordial spirit's power to suppress this Grand Elder. This person's strength is not ordinary. It would be best if you could make him a slave. After Su Fong finished his plan, he immediately absorbed most of his power into the world tree. Boom! The power of the world of yin and yang exploded from the heaven and earth Dao palace, engulfing his body and forming a powerful world's power that radiated out. It passed through the Grand Elder's body and covered the entire storehouse. With Su Fong's current strength, he could turn all of his true qi and energy into a world. He could even suppress a peak Dao realm expert. Although he hadn't unleashed his full power, suppressing a high-level Dao realm Grand Elder and hundreds of ordinary cultivators was a piece of cake. Grand Elder Zhongsun, what is the meaning of this? The Grand Elder was shocked and looked at Grand Elder Zhongsun in disbelief. His body was shackled by the power of the world of yin and yang. He had completely lost connection with the world and couldn't move at all. He couldn't use any abilities. His reaction wasn't slow. He immediately tried to transmit his primordial spirit. TSK, TSK. A black Xian Guang shot out from Grand Elder Zhongsuan's forehead. With a pa sound, the black Xian Guang hit Grand Elder Zhongsuan's forehead and directly drilled into his sea of divine apertures. The vast primordial spirit impact immediately shook his young immortal, making it difficult for him to transmit his primordial spirit's voice. At the same time, Qi, 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 Su Fong controlled the power of the world of yin and yang. Immediately, from the space covered by the power of the world of yin and yang, a turbulent flow of water gushed out and wrapped up everyone. Then, without missing a single one, he directly sent them into the heaven-shrouding nether coffin. Undead Lord, I'll leave them all to you. If they don't want to submit, just devour them. Su Fong peeled off a young immortal and entered the heaven-shrouding underworld coffin. He looked at the struggling heaven's mandate, Hao Tsang sect cultivators, and spoke to the undead lord with a voice full of killing intent. Su Fong, you're Su Fong. You actually infiltrated heaven's mandate, Hao Tsang sect. Su Fong's second primordial spirit stopped attacking the Grand Elder's primordial spirit and flew out of his sea of divine apertures. This person had just escaped the danger of his young, immortal being destroyed. Now that he recognized Su Fong, he was deeply shocked again. The others also stopped struggling, since they had fallen into Su Fong's hands. What was the point of continuing to struggle? It's best if you don't submit so that I can enjoy a good meal. Kiki. The Death Lord chuckled evilly and channeled the power of his Tao treasure to shackle the cultivators of the heaven's mandate, Hao Tsang. The Grand Elder was very strong. He sneered disdainfully. Su Fong, I have nothing to say now that I've fallen into your hands. It won't be long before heaven's mandate, Hao Tsang sect, suppresses you. Submitting to you is also a dead end. Since I'm going to die anyway, why should I submit to you? I advise you to give up. I'm the Grand Elder of Heaven's Mandate, Hao Tsang sect. How can I submit to a sect traitor like you? Su Fong's young immortal said coldly, You're just a high-level Tao realm cultivator. I don't lack such subordinates. Undead Lord. Qi, Qi, Qi. Thank you, Master, for your help. The Undead Lord sneered and used his monstrous death Qi to envelop the Grand Elder. In less than 10 breaths, this person's life essence was completely devoured. The undead monarch's aura became even more boundless. He licked his lips and revealed an evil smile. He looked at the remaining Heaven's Mandate, Hao Tsang sect cultivators, as if he hadn't had enough. I submit. Don't kill me. I'll submit. More than 100 Heaven's Mandate, Hao Tsang sect cultivators shouted one after another. Su Fong didn't care much about these cultivators. He only gave them a way out because it wasn't easy for them to cultivate. The Pill Refinement Master was very extraordinary. This person was Heaven's Mandate, Hao Tsang sect's Pill Refinement Grandmaster. His pill refinement level was considered top in the entire Great World. Su Fong sensed the fire-scaled beast's aura on the Pill Refinement Master and immediately shouted coldly, Flame-scaled beast's heartblood, what are you waiting for? The Pill Refinement Master hurriedly took out a medicinal cauldron from his body and handed it to Su Fong with both hands. 3 drops of crimson flame the size of a baby's fist were hovering in the middle of the pill cauldron. As expected of the flame-scaled beast with the bloodline of the divine beast Qilin. This beast had been killed for who knows how many years, but the 3 drops of heart blood still exuded an extremely shocking aura of life. Moreover, it also contained a powerful and incomparably violent intent. Su Fong's young immortal released a gaze that had just touched the blood flames when an angry roar sounded in his mind, almost shattering this young immortal. =_our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1682. As expected of a divine beast of the divine realm, the remnant will in the heart blood is so powerful. Sensing the remnant consciousness of the flame-scaled beast in his heart blood, Su Fong's heart skipped a beat. What surprised Su Fong the most was that the flame-scale beast was a divine beast of the fire element. In addition to the majestic life force in the heart blood, it also contained the essence of the fire element, which was far superior to any fire element spirit in the great world. Su Fong sealed the medicinal cauldron and temporarily let old monster Zhu Tian seal it in the blue flame golden sun cauldron. After leaving the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsong sect, he would find a suitable place and time to let law absorb the life essence inside. The heart blood of the flame scale beast must constantly devour fire energy to maintain the essence and not lose it. The blue flame golden sun cauldron was a king-grade medicinal cauldron, and the refining flames it released were astonishing. If the heart blood of the flame scale beast was placed inside, there would definitely be no loss. As for the alchemy master, he was sent to old monster Zhu Tian by Su Fong to assist him in refining the yin-yang immortal sky pill and king-grade pills. The heart blood of the flame scale beast was in his hands. Su Fong was very happy in his heart. With these 3 drops of the flame scale beast's heart blood, it was enough to help Law break through the shackles of the blood-colored cage, and his primordial spirit completely regained its freedom. Moreover, the fire element essence in the heart blood of the flame scale beast was a supreme spirit item for Su Fong to cultivate the fire cloud emperor physique and the 9 yang 9 transformations. At the same time that Su Fong obtained the heart blood of the flame scale beast, his second primordial spirit collected all the treasures in the storehouse into the storage ring. The dying demon monkey was also kept by Su Fong in the True Dragon Realm's cultivation hall. All kinds of spirit items and materials floated in the storage ring like a river. Moreover, these spirit items and materials were all top-notch in the great world. Su Fong was smiling so widely that his mouth never closed. With the help of these resources, Su Fong estimated that not only could he break through to the high-level Dao realm, but Bai Ling could also break through to the peak of the Demon Emperor realm, especially the Demon Monkey. It was a demon saint. Such a powerful existence could be counted on one's fingers in the entire demon realm. Although this demon monkey had lost its primordial spirit, its corporeal body was still there. If it devoured its corporeal body, golden core, and spiritual bead, Su Fong reckoned that the Yellow Spring Blood Sea could cultivate to the state of perfection, reaching the height of the Yellow Spring Great Emperor back then. This time, it could be said to be a big harvest. How could Su Fong not be surprised? What pleased Su Fong even more was that these treasures had been plundered from the Tianming Haotsong sect. What could be more satisfying than plundering the enemy's possessions? The storehouse was not a place to stay for long. The second primordial spirit controlled Grand Elder Zhangsuan's corporeal body to leave quickly. When he reached a place where there was no one, Su Fong used the divine life shrinking technique to conceal the surrounding aura. Then, the second primordial spirit replaced the corporeal body of the fat steward and swaggered back to the fat steward's residence in the miracle. I've looted so many spirit items, materials, heart blood of the flame scale beast, a demon monkey, and killed a grand elder and an elder of the Heaven's Mandate Bright Heaven sect. That's a pretty good haul, but it's far from enough. Tianming Haotsong sect and the demon race, you want to kill me. If I don't take the cruelest revenge, how can I repay you? Su Fong smiled sinisterly, his eyes flashing with ruthlessness. Su Fong came out of the fat steward's body and released his great perfection stage ability to sense. Even the slightest movement in the miracle could not escape his senses. He was like a fierce wolf, lurking in the dark, ready to bite the Tianming Haotsong sect and the demon race at any time. Even if it was not fatal, he would tear off a bloody piece of flesh from the Tianming Haotsong sect and the demon race. The looting of the storehouse was quickly discovered by the cultivators of the Tianming Haotsong sect. Not only were the various things prepared for the demon race in the storehouse gone, even the Grand Elder guarding the storehouse, as well as hundreds of cultivators and odd job workers, all disappeared. What kind of big deal was this? Even the Tianming Haotsong sect's Grand Elder was alarmed and personally came out to inquire about this matter. However, the Tianming Haotsong sect did not make it public. Instead, they secretly investigated everywhere, including the residence of the Fat Steward. The Fat Steward possessed by the second primordial spirit did not have a high cultivation base, so the Tianming Haotsong sect would not suspect him. After a group of Tianming Haotsong sect cultivators searched for a while, They did not find any clues and finally left in embarrassment. After investigating for a while, they could not find any results in the end. The Tianming Haotsong sect could only temporarily suppress the matter and increase the strength of the Miracle's guards. Half a day later, a rock-like stone belt quietly drilled into the fat steward's residence from a crack in the stone. After entering the room, it turned into Wuling Goblin's main body. Wuling Goblin had long since become a fiend emperor. His earth attribute ability had become stronger and stronger. Even in the heavily guarded Miracle, he could enter and leave freely. Wuling Goblin spat out the true dragon world from his mouth. Then, together with the true dragon world, it was absorbed into Su Fang's body. Among the 12 great clans of the Silent Great Star, other than some ordinary clansmen and some clansmen who were not on the Silent Great Star who had to be abandoned, the rest of the clansmen were all transferred to the true dragon world. It would not take long for the matter of the Silent Great Star to be discovered. Su Fang did not care about it. 3 days later, the fat steward walked out of the room and headed towards the palace where the fiend race's diplomatic mission was staying. Outside the palace complex, the fat steward was stopped by a group of Tianming Haotsong sect cultivators. "I have an important matter to discuss with the fiend race's holy son, Ming Yin. Let me in." The fat steward shouted loudly. "Do you think this is a place where you can come to? If you disturb the fiend race's diplomatic mission, even if you have 10 heads, it won't be enough to chop off." Scram! The Tianming Haotsong sect cultivator at the front released a burst of divine aura and was about to send the fat steward flying. Who would have thought that right at this moment? "The fiend race killed my family. I want nothing more than to suck their blood dry and eat their flesh." The fat steward roared angrily. "You're courting death." The Tianming Haotsong sect cultivator was shocked and angry. He was about to attack and suppress the fat steward. In the next moment, boom! The fat steward's fleshy body suddenly exploded with a boom. Although the fat steward was only a 9th path Saint Immortal Realm cultivator, the power of burning his true chi and exploding his body was not to be underestimated. The huge explosion caused the entire divine ruin to shake violently. The impact of the explosion swept up the soil and stones on the ground and swept them in all directions. It was a shocking sight. What no one noticed was that a fist-sized stone flew with the impact of the explosion past layers of guards and landed in the flowers outside a palace where the fiend race lived. Swoosh! 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 Countless Tianming Haotsong sect cultivators heard the commotion and rushed over. Even the fiend race cultivators in the palace were alarmed and came out to investigate. The stone and the flowers suddenly moved, transforming into a stone belt that quickly crawled on the ground. It stuck close to the walls of the palace and finally hid at the top. The stone belt was naturally Black Ridge Monster King in disguise. His earth elemental abilities were already incredible, and with Su Fang's earth elemental godly aura and the heavenly secret life shrinking art to conceal his aura, even a god would have a hard time discovering him. The stone belt crawled on top of the palace until it reached the main hall. Inside the main hall, the Tianming Haotsong sect's first supreme elder and Ming Yin sat across from each other. Ming Yin raised an eyebrow when he heard the commotion outside, especially the fat steward's shout before he self-detonated. Then he smiled faintly. Some people in the Tianming Haotsong sect don't seem to welcome the fiend race. I also heard that the 3 drops of flaming scale beast heartblood that the Tianming Haotsong sect prepared for me have also disappeared. There are always some idiots who don't understand the sect's good intentions. As for the disappearance of the flaming scale beast's heartblood, it's very strange. The entire sect is hunting him down right now. We've made a fool of ourselves. In a few days, I will compensate the Holy Sun with other divine tier spiritual items. The first Supreme Elder was actually very polite to Ming Yin. He could tell that Ming Yin was extraordinary and treated him as an equal. Young Master Qishong and I came here not only to discuss the alliance with the Tianming Haotsong sect, but also to discuss an especially important matter. It's even more important than the alliance. First Supreme Elder should understand. You're talking about Su Fang, aren't you? If we don't get rid of him, Not only the fiend race, but even the Tianming Haotsong sect won't have a day of peace. Don't worry, I've already sent the sect's experts to the square Heaven Great World. As long as we capture Su Fang's father and relatives, he won't have to worry about not appearing. I hope the Tianming Haotsong sect won't return empty-handed this time. At the top of the palace, Su Fang, who was inside the Wuling Goblin's body, heard the conversation between the first Supreme Elder and Ming Yen. Murderous intent surged in his heart. The prophecy of the heaven's secret life, shrinking technique, and the heaven's expansion mystic unravel was right. The Tianming Haotsong sect really did send experts to harm my father and clansmen. But for some reason, the experts sent by the Tianming Haotsong sect didn't arrive at the square Heaven Great World. The first Supreme Elder and Ming Yin chatted for a while longer. It was nothing more than haggling over the details of the alliance. Su Fang secretly ordered the Wuling Goblin to climb down from the top of the palace and hide in a fake mountain, waiting for an opportunity to kill the demon experts. It would be best if they could seize the opportunity to kill Ming Yan. Of course, it wouldn't be so easy to kill Ming Yan, not to mention Ming Yan's current strength. If the first Supreme Elder and Sang Han, who is still recuperating in the Tianming Haotsong sect, were to be surrounded, it wouldn't be so easy to escape like last time. Moreover, when Su Fang entered the Tianming Haotsong sect this time, he faintly sensed a few extremely ethereal auras. Clearly, the Tianming Haotsong sect had many hidden trump cards. Now that they were all out, Su Fang had to be careful. About 15 days passed. Su Fang still couldn't find an opportunity to make his move. The alliance between the Tianming Haotsong sect and the demon race was to be signed in a few days. It would be too late to make a move then. Just as he was panicking, Ming Yin left the divine site one day. No one knew where he went. Now is the time. Su Fang no longer hesitated. His eyes flashed with a ruthless light, and he ordered the Wuling Goblin to head straight for a palace. This palace was right next to the one Ming Yin resided in. Another important figure of the demon race lived in this palace. The new young master of the demon race, Qi Shang, equals _ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1683. Luring the tiger away from the mountain. Boom! A loud sound came from the palace. The new young master Qi Shang's violent and cruel laughter and the screams of women came from the palace. Tell the heavens mandate bright firmament sect to immediately get 10 more women for this young master. They must be at least in the saint immortal realm. After a while, the palace quieted down and Qi Shang's roar came again. Yes, young master. The two Devil Clan experts guarding the entrance of the palace were very powerful. They had reached the high level of the Tao realm. When they heard the commotion in the palace, they were already used to it. Hearing Qi Shang's order, one of the demon experts was about to move when an old man with a goatee walked towards the palace's entrance. One of the demon experts shouted coldly, "Who are you? How dare you barge into young master Qi Shang's palace without notice?" The old man with a goatee said, "I am the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament Sect's Grand Elder. I am here to deliver the human women to young Master Qi Shang." The demon expert was about to continue his interrogation when young Master Qi Shang's voice came out. "Let him in. Why aren't you going in?" The two demon experts quickly moved to the side. The old man with a goatee strode towards the palace. When he passed by the two demon experts, his second primordial spirit and Su Fang's main body suddenly attacked. The second primordial spirit activated the Dark Valley Origin Pearl and burst out a terrifying primordial spirit sword Qi. It broke through the defense of the demon expert's divine aperture from his temple and heavily injured his primordial spirit, causing him to scream in pain. Then, the old man with a goatee released a sharp sword Qi that pierced through the demon's head. At the same time, Su Fang came out of Grand Elder Zhangsuan's body and activated his blood transformation true body. His body was wrapped in blood runes, and an evil aura burned. He turned into a terrifying demon and pounced on the demon expert on the right. He actually directly hugged the demon expert. "Pooh! The two bloody horns below Su Fong's shoulders, sharp and incomparably sturdy, tyrannically pierced through the demon expert's fleshly body defense, piercing his heart and killing him on the spot. Casually storing the corpses of the two devil experts into the true dragon world, Su Fong and great elder Zhang's son walked into the palace side by side. In the palace, the demon race's young master, Qi Shang, was naked and transformed into a heavenly demon. His body emitted a violent demonic qi, and his entire body was bathed in blood. He let out a low roar like a wild beast. At his feet, a dozen human women lay in pools of blood. Their clothes were torn to shreds, and there was not a single part of their skin that was intact. Young Master Qi Shang had tortured them to death. There was another woman who was in an even more miserable state, having been directly torn in half by Qi Shang. This new young master of the demon race was actually this brutal. Young Master Qi Shang was in a frenzied state. He did not notice the movement at the door until Su Fong saw the scene in the main hall and released a cold, killing intent. Only then did he sense it and abruptly turn around. Young Master Qi Shang looked at Su Fong, his eyes burning with demonic flames, like a man-eating demonic beast. Women, where are the women? This young master wants women. This demon obviously cultivated some kind of demon race cultivation method. He had fallen into a frenzied state, and his mind was somewhat unclear. You deserve to die. Su Fong's cold voice was filled with austere will. He took a step forward, and in the state of his blood transformation true body, a violent punch set off a terrifying aura, bombarding young Master Qi Shang's chest. Boom! Su Fong's punch shattered young Master Qi Shang's demonic qi defense. But just as his power touched young Master Qi Shang's body, a Wolfang pendant on the latter's neck suddenly burst out with demonic light, forming a layer of demonic fiendish aura that instantly covered young Master Qi Shang's body. Young Master Qi Shang's body was sent flying, smashing a large hole in the palace wall. Su Fong was also shaken back by a powerful recoil, and the flesh and bones in his hand were shattered. Damned heaven's mandate, how Tsong's sect cultivator, you actually dared to assassinate this young master. This young master has the protection of the demon god's fawn. You think you can harm this young master? Young Master Qi Shang sneered malevolently, recovering from his frenzied state. This young master wants to tear you apart. Qi Shang let out a wild howl, and his voice rushed out of the palace, pouncing on Su Fong like a vicious beast. Today, even if the demon god descends, he won't be able to save you. Su Fong sneered coldly. Under the state of blood transformation true body, he also displayed his natal state. The big goblin, experts, and hundreds of thousands of slave experts in his body sent their true qi, demonic qi, and other energies into his body through the Xianhuang's Six Paths Pagoda. Boom! Su Fong shot out like a bolt of thunder, and another powerful and incomparably domineering punch landed on young Master Qi Shang's body. In his natal state, Su Fong's strength skyrocketed. His current strength could easily kill a peak high-level Dao Realm expert. Although young Master Qi Shang's demon god's Fong's defense was extraordinary, his own strength was too weak. How could he withstand such a ferocious punch? His defense was instantly shattered, and young Master Qi Shang's body was also shaken until it collapsed layer by layer. His body was like a broken sack swept by a gust of wind, and his body was sent flying out. He crashed into the palace wall and fell outside, dead on the spot. Just like that, two young masters of the demon race were killed by Su Fong. The demon realm master had no choice but to choose another young master from his many sons. At this time, countless experts of the demon race and cultivators of the heavens mandate how Tsong's sect heard young Master Qi Shang's howl and rushed toward the palace. Su Fong thought for a moment, and a ruthless glint flashed in his eyes. He decisively said, "Second primordial spirit, you lure the experts of the demon race away. It's best if you can lure Ming Yin and the Supreme Grand Elder out of the heavens mandate how Tsong's sect. I'll stay here for the time being and teach the heavens mandate how Tsong's sect an unforgettable lesson." Yes, second primordial spirit took control of Elder Changsuan's body and flew out of the palace. Su Fong once again entered Wuling Goblin's body, borrowing the power of the Wuling Goblin's earth attribute. At the same time, he urged his divine aura and the divination life, shrinking art, to hide in the ruins of the palace that Qi Shang had just crashed into. Heaven's mandate how Tsang sect cultivators killed young Master Qi Shang. Kill him, we can't let him escape. As soon as Grand Elder Changsun appeared, he immediately attracted the frenzied attacks of the demon race experts. Boom, boom, boom. Grand Elder Changsun was like a god of death, sweeping through everything in his path. In a short span of a dozen breaths, 5 demon race experts were killed. This time, more than half of the dozen or so demon race cultivators were killed. Satisfying, truly satisfying. The second primordial spirit killed to its heart's content and couldn't help but laugh out loud. It was so wild and domineering. It's Grand Elder Zhangsun. Why did he kill young Lord Qi Shang of the devil race? Could it be that the sect wants to attack the demon race? The heavens mandate how Tsang sect cultivators recognized Grand Elder Changsun at a glance and were all dumbfounded. Then, they took it for granted that the heavens mandate how Tsang sect wanted to attack the demon race's diplomatic mission. They were so shocked that some even prepared to help Grand Elder Changsun kill the demon race experts. You killed my demon race's young master. This holy sun will make you wish you were dead. A thunderous roar came from the distance. Ming Yin, the demon race's holy son, was engulfed in demonic flames. Before his voice had even faded, he was already above the divine ruin. Evil demons, any cultivator of the heavens mandate how Tsang sect can kill them. I killed the demon race's young master. What do you do to me? Grand Elder Changsun said, domineeringly. Zhangsun, are you crazy? It turned out that the heavens mandate how Tsang sect's Grand Elder had rushed over. His eyes were filled with disbelief as he roared. I need an explanation from the heavens mandate how Tsang sect. Ming Yin shouted coldly at the Grand Elder. Changsun, why aren't you stopping? The Grand Elder was so angry that his entire body trembled. Who would have thought that after Great Elder Zhangsun laughed coldly, he would explode with a shocking sword chi, killing a demon expert? You're courting death. Ming Yin was unable to restrain his anger. He opened his mouth and spat out a black demonic mist that covered the sky and the sun. In an instant, the entire divine ruin was enveloped. As soon as the heavens mandate how Tsang sect cultivators touched the demonic mist, their bodies collapsed layer by layer, turning into black blood. Shocked, the heavens mandate how Tsang sect cultivators hurriedly activated their abilities, Dao artifacts, or released their auras. However, everything was corroded by the demonic mist. Go to hell. Ming Yin released a terrifying aura that only a demigod expert could possess. Like a demonic beast from the divine world, he charged at Grand Elder Changsun with blood-red, demonic flames burning all over his body. Changsun, why aren't you surrendering? The first Supreme Elder sealed off Great Elder Changsun's path of retreat. This time, if they couldn't suppress Great Elder Changsun and find out the truth of the matter, heaven's mandate how Tsang sect wouldn't be able to answer to the demons. No matter how strong Grand Elder Changsun was, he couldn't escape the fate of being suppressed under the encirclement of 2 demigods. Today, I'll kill the demon race's young lord first. Before long, I'll kill you, the demon race's holy son, as well. Grand Elder Changsun flipped his hand and took out a half-palm-sized, crescent-shaped white jade token. After injecting his magic power, Grand Elder Changsun's body was enveloped in a xian guang that resembled bright moonlight. Then, a twisting divine aura forced him to vanish from the spot, leaving only an afterimage behind. When he reappeared, he was already 10,000 miles away from the heavens mandate how Tsang sect's defensive formation. The sacred moon demonic deterrence token. Demon race? The heavens mandate how Tsang sect's higher-ups are colluding with demons? Ming Yin blinked, then shot through the air in pursuit of Grand Elder Changsun. Damn Zhangsun. Could it be that there's a problem with his cultivation and he's gone mad? Or perhaps he's a spy from the demon realm who infiltrated the heavenly mandate, how Tsang sect? The first Supreme Elder was very gloomy. Gnashing his teeth, he also chased after them. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. Boom! A figure shot up from the ruins and stood in the air above the Heaven's Mandate, Hao Tsang sect with his hands behind his back. He looked like a god overlooking the world. The Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect had caused such a huge commotion that it attracted the attention of countless people. The appearance of this figure alarmed all the cultivators in the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. That's Su Fang. Su Fang. He dares to appear in the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect in public. Cries of shock and horror erupted from the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. Novels and novels equals underscore our download address. Mobile reading, bibliography. Chapter 1684. And Apimb. The Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect is unfit to lead the immortal Tao due to its unrighteousness. I, Su Fang, will strip the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect of its right to lead the immortal Tao. Su Fang's majestic voice reverberated in the sky above the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. A supreme, domineering aura enveloped the world. The sect is looking for Su Fang all over the greater world. How dare he come to the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect? How dare he try to strip the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect of its right to lead the immortal Tao? Who does he think he is? The heavenly Tao? How arrogant! You're courting death. Suppress him, and the sect will reward you handsomely. Some of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect cultivators thought of the generous rewards, and their eyes flashed with greed. They rushed into the sky one after another. If this were any other place, they wouldn't be blinded by greed. However, this was the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. No matter how heaven-defying Su Fang's strength was, how much could he stir up? Su Fang looked down at the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect cultivators with a cold and ruthless expression. Boom! A mysterious purple aura burst out of Su Fang's body and condensed into a huge purple umbrella above his head. Then, a supreme ruler's aura surged out of Su Fang's body like the might of the heavens and covered the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. Su Fang had saved the immortal Tao Hao Tsang sect and obtained the faith of countless cultivators. Moreover, his purple aura spirit was constantly evolving. The combination of his purple aura spirit and imperial aura allowed his ruler's aura to reach a terrifying level. Su Fang was like a supreme ruler of heaven and earth. He possessed supreme fortune and a sovereign's will that no one could resist. Even the heavens and earth had to submit to him. The Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect was said to represent the heavens and dictate the fate of all living beings. It controlled the firmament, and its 81 sites were protected by the supreme will of the heavenly Tao. However, at this very moment, under Su Fang's supreme divine might, the will of the heavenly Tao was also replaced by Su Fang's will. Boom, boom, boom. Countless Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect cultivators charged at Su Fang, but they all trembled under the pressure of Su Fang's sovereign aura. In an instant, these cultivators' hearts were filled with greed and monstrous killing intent, but they were drowned by boundless fear and reverence. Their legs went soft, and they couldn't help but kneel down and submit to Su Fang. Many cultivators on the ground succumbed to Su Fang's invincible might. Countless cultivators even knelt on the ground to worship Su Fang. The creation of fate, the master of heaven's secrets. If I am the master, all worlds will submit to me. Su Fang used his primordial spirit to chant the profundities of fate Tao runes and activated the heaven's fate-taking art. So it turned out that Su Fang had his second primordial spirit control Grand Elder Changsun to lure the Grand Elder and Ming Yin out of the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect. His goal was to inflict the most fatal revenge on the sect, devouring the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect's destiny. Every cultivator had a fortune that ordinary people didn't have. Only then could they cultivate in defiance of the heavens and ascend from a mortal to an immortal. To be able to establish a foothold in the greater world, each faction also had a fortune. Moreover, this fortune was a type of influence. If it was strong, the faction would be powerful. If it was weak, the faction would decline or even perish. The Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect was the #1 faction of the Immortal Tao. No other faction in the Immortal Tao could compare to its fortune. Even the Grand Star Hall was far inferior. However, as Su Fong activated the Purple Cloud Dharma Spirit and the Imperial Qi, as well as the Heavenly Fate Life shrinking technique, a mysterious force swallowed up the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect's Imperial Qi in a domineering manner. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Strands of purple mist flew out from the depths of the Heaven's Mandate Saint Land and gathered around Su Fong. Originally, the violet mist was difficult to see with the naked eye, but because there was so much of it, it converged into something like a vast sea, causing the mysterious violet mist to swirl around Su Fong. The violet mist canopy above his head continued to expand from 100 meters to 50 meters, 60 meters, until it was nearly 300 meters wide. The Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect was under the protection of the Heavenly Tao, so its cultivators were especially sensitive to fortune. At this moment, all cultivators who used the sect as their origin felt a sense of terror, as if they had lost the protection of the Heavenly Tao. They could foresee that from now on, their cultivation would be shackled everywhere. All sorts of calamities and misfortunes would descend upon them. It wasn't just these cultivators. The entire Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect seemed to have been stripped of its supreme halo bestowed by the Heavenly Tao. Their fortune rapidly declined. The sect's cultivators stared at Su Fong in disbelief. In their minds, Su Fong was the embodiment of the Heavenly Tao, a ferocious devil. In the minds of the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect's cultivators, Su Fong had turned the tide in the Great War and saved the Immortal Tao world. No one could match his prestige. However, he refused to be controlled by the Heavenly Mandate Haotsong sect. Under the powerful suppression of the Heavenly Mandate Haotsong sect, no matter how great his reputation was, he would be suppressed sooner or later. But they didn't expect. Who would have thought that Su Fong would appear so openly and give the Heavenly Mandate Haotsong sect the most ruthless revenge they'd ever received? The loss of providence was difficult to see with the naked eye, nor could it be captured, but it could be sensed in the unseen world. The Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect had lost several higher-ups and even its first Supreme Elder. Perhaps it was a heavy loss, but it wouldn't shake its foundation. However, the loss of fortune also meant that the sect's foundation was shaken and would continue to slide into the abyss of destruction. Su Fong's terrifying ability to devour fortune shocked the entire Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect. Everyone had the same thought. This person was heaven-defying. No matter if it was an individual, a sect, a cultivation family, or even an entire race, they would all be destroyed in the end. Su Fong used his Purple Qi Dharma Spirit and Imperial Qi to activate the Heavenly Secret Life-taking art. He forcefully and domineeringly devoured the fortune of the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect. Although he wantonly plundered a large amount of fortune, he also paid a heavy price. His head was covered with a layer of gray, and his appearance became that of a man in his 50s. However, he looked down indifferently. His deep eyes were filled with vigilance. The Jinqi and energy in his body were ready to explode at any time. He was not guarding against the experts of the Heavenly Mandate Haotsong sect, but against the deity Sang-Han, who was hiding in the Heavenly Mandate Haotsong sect. He appeared in public not only to take revenge on the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect and devour their fortune, but also to lure Sang-Han out and kill him in one fell swoop, while the first Supreme Elder and Ming Yan were away. However, the result disappointed Su Fong. Sang-Han must know that Luo has awakened. Luo can use my body to display the Azura clan's supreme ability and threaten his life. Moreover, he was injured by Master last time, so he must be very cautious and won't be easily fooled. Sang-Han is hiding in a secret place in the depths of the celestial land of destiny. There are layers of formations. If I force my way in, even if I can kill him, I won't be able to escape when the first Supreme Elder and Ming Yan return. Looks like I have to give Sang-Han some courage. Su Fang's eyes flashed with decisiveness and viciousness. Then he staggered, looking as if he had exhausted too much of his life force and could no longer fly. In the depths of the celestial land of destiny, Sang Han was recuperating in seclusion in a secret place. He noticed Su Fang as soon as he appeared. Just as Su Fang had guessed, Sang Han didn't intend to make a move because he was afraid of Luo's strength. Seeing Su Fang's aura weaken, Sang Han's eyes flashed with a bloody light. He stood up from the ground, but still didn't make a move. Instead, he spoke to the cultivators of the heavens' mandate bright firmament sect in a stern voice. Su Fang is already at the end of his strength. If you don't make a move now to suppress him, when will you? With me supporting you, what do you have to fear? I promise that whoever can suppress him will have a chance to become a god. Even if you can't become a god, you can at least become a demigod like the first Supreme Elder. Godly man, it's the god who appeared during the great war of the immortals and demons. With the support of a deity, what can Su Fang do? No matter how strong he is still like an ant in front of a god. I don't expect to become a god. As long as I can reach the height of the first Supreme Elder, even if there's only a glimmer of hope, it is worth fighting with my life. Su Fang is already at the end of his strength and can be easily suppressed. How can such a great merit fall into the hands of others? Sang Han's words instantly ignited the flames of greed in the hearts of the first Supreme Elder and Supreme Elder of the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect. The fear and despair just now suddenly disappeared. Their eyes flashed with a hale and hearty light, and they rushed to kill Su Fang. APMB ROR Su Fang suddenly looked up to the sky and let out an earth-shattering dragon roar. An astonishing dragon aura soared into the sky and quickly turned into a divine dragon more than 500 feet long. It emitted a terrifying dragon's might and deterred all directions. Boom, 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 boom. The divine dragon transformed by Su Fang swung its huge tail and swam with an earth-shattering momentum. After a roar, it killed more than a dozen experts of the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect and launched an earth-shattering battle. As Su Fang's cultivation realm increased, and he continued to devour the essence of would attribute spiritual objects, it caused his dragon's subduing true body to transform again and again. When he urged the dragon's subduing true body to transform into a divine dragon, not only did it become bigger, but its physical defense and the power of the Dragon Clan's supernatural powers also reached the height of a peak Tao Realm expert. Boom! A Supreme Elder was clawed into pieces by the mysterious yellow tyrant dragon claw on the spot, and the pieces of his body flew all over the sky. Boom! 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 The divine dragon that Su Fang had transformed into collided with a Taishang Elder. Heaven and earth shook, and Su Fang's dragon scales fell off, and dragon blood splattered everywhere. I am the divine dragon. In my name, in my will, I deprive you of your true chi, physical body, and primordial spirit. A voice that seemed to come from ancient times came out of the divine dragon's mouth as it used the Dragon Clan's supreme supernatural power, the curse of the divine dragon. The Supreme Elder's true chi, blood chi, primordial spirit, and life aura rapidly disappeared under the divine power of the curse of the divine dragon. The other experts of the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect were all shocked. What can the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect do to me? Su Fang withdrew from the dragon, subduing true body state, and smiled coldly. A supreme, domineering aura that seemed to look down on the world spontaneously arose. =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1685. The next time I, Su Fang, come back, it will be the time of the destruction of Tianming Haotsong sect. Su Fang swept his gaze over the experts of the Heaven's Mandate Haotsong sect and slowly flew towards the barrier above the sect. Whoosh! Su Fang's body suddenly collapsed and turned into a bloody ribbon, cleverly passing through the gap in the enchantment and arriving outside the enchantment. Intimidated by Su Fang's momentum, none of the Tianming Haotsong sect's experts dared to stop him. Puff! Su Fong's body suddenly shook, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His aura immediately withered to the extreme, and even his life aura became very weak. Sang Han, who was hiding in the secret realm of the Tianming celestial land, saw this scene and immediately showed a look of surprise. However, he still carefully sensed and determined that Su Fong could not be in disguise. He no longer hesitated and directly tore the void, and his figure flashed into the chaotic space and time. When he reappeared, he was already outside the enchantment and was only 1,000 feet away from Su Fong. "And we meet again." Sang Han smiled coldly. Su Fong said hatefully, "It's a pity that I couldn't kill you last time. And of the lower realm, you want to kill me? If it weren't for that expert from the God realm, you would have been suppressed by me. How would you have the life to be arrogant in Tianming Haotsong sect? That expert from the God realm who mastered the time, reincarnation, great Tao has fallen, right? In your current state, even if that felon of my clan stimulates the potential of your body, it will be difficult for him to do anything to me." Sang Han looked at Su Fong indifferently, as if he was looking at a dead man. At this time, Luo Lung's cold voice suddenly sounded. "Lowly slave, you dare to treat this king as a prisoner?" Sang Han disdainfully said, "Although you used to be the king of the Azura clan, you have long been stripped of your identity as a king. Your corporeal body and primordial spirit have been separated and imprisoned in the God realm and the outside world, becoming a prisoner." Jiuzhenjiang, 1704 chapter. "In the past, I was indeed a lowly slave in your eyes, but now I am your guard, and you are a prisoner. What qualifications do you have to put on the heirs of an Azura king in front of me?" Sang Han's words shocked Su Fong. He had long guessed that Law must be a big shot of the Shura clan, but he didn't expect his identity to be so shocking. Azura king. Su Fong learned from Shu Yunkong that Azura was an extremely powerful race in the universe. Although they had declined and their clansmen had withered away, there were still many experts in the race. No organization in the universe dared to underestimate the Azura race because Azura was most proficient in the Tao of Slaughter. They were a terrifying race that made people pale at the mere mention of them. It was actually the Azura king. Sang Han said proudly, "Previously, you used the Azura supreme supernatural power and overdraft Su Fong's corporeal body. Now that it's been less than 1,000 years, it's impossible for you to use it again. And it's impossible for your primordial spirit to break through the shackles of the blood-colored cage in a short time. It's better to obediently follow me back to the sealed land, lest you be humiliated by me and completely lose the last of your dignity as the former Azura king." Su Fong suddenly laughed. "I'm afraid that this time, not only will you return empty-handed, but you will also pay with your life." Sang Han seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world and couldn't help but laugh wildly. Then his body exploded with a monstrous killing aura, and he turned into an Azura full of blood and killing aura. The evil blood light burned into a raging flame. "Chi!" Sang Han spat out a dark flame, and with a terrifying momentum that covered the sky, it pressed down on Su Fong. Law transmitted his voice to Su Fong. "Su Fong, I want the heart blood of this lowly slave." "As you wish." Su Fong responded coldly. Boom! Luo Tsong burst out a divine power from the blood jade, and the blood-colored cage couldn't stop it. It quickly merged with Su Fong's flesh, meridians, and bones. Su Fong's body seemed to be burning, and mysterious totems appeared on his skin, turning him into a volcano, spewing out a monstrous killing aura. "Impossible! How can you overdraft the potential of your body in such a short time? Why hasn't your body collapsed?" Sang Han's expression changed instantly, and he revealed a look of disbelief. Boom! 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 Su Fong urged a majestic killing aura, which converged into a stormy wave, suppressing Sang Han's dark flame and crushing his momentum layer by layer. Boom! Sang Han was like a cannonball, and under Su Fong's astonishing power, he was sent flying with a boom, and fell on the boundary of the Tianming Haotsong sect. The boundary shook violently and almost shattered, and the entire 81 dojos of the Tianming Haotsong sect shook with a loud boom. Su Fang's attack was so terrifying. You, cunning ant, you've recovered long ago, and your previous injuries were all faked. Sang Han gritted his teeth. As expected of a deity from the heavens, Luo Tsong's terrifying attack with the help of Su Fang's perfect realm body didn't kill him, but injured him, and the injury wasn't very serious. It wasn't that Luo wasn't strong enough, but that Su Fang's perfect realm body could only allow Luo Tsong to unleash such an attack. Boom, boom, boom. Su Fang flew in a strange arc in the air, and one bloodlight fist after another ruthlessly crushed Sang Han. Sang Han was forced to retreat step by step, and he kept vomiting blood, and his body was also constantly broken. A dignified deity from the heavens was being overpowered by a cultivator from a large world, and one whose cultivation was only at the middle stage of the Tao realm. Such a scene stunned the cultivators of the Tianming Haotsong sect, and there was a loud bang in their heads. Wasn't a cultivator from a large world like an ant in front of a deity? Why was the situation reversed at this moment? Su Fang was about to kill Sang Han at all costs and get rid of this scourge when Luo suddenly shouted, "Su Fang, run! Run?" In a dozen more breaths, I can guarantee that Sang Han will be suppressed. Run now. The first supreme elder of the Tianming Haotsong sect and the demon saint, Ming Yin, are rushing here. It'll be too late if we don't leave now. Sang Han is just a slave of my clan, and when my primordial spirit escapes, it'll be easy to kill him. There's no need to take the risk for him. How could Su Fang be willing to give up now when he was so close to killing Sang Han? Even if he was unwilling, there was nothing he could do. He couldn't maintain his current state for too long. Even if he killed Sang Han, when the first supreme elder and Ming Yin rushed back, it would be difficult to escape their suppression. Luo, you don't have to do it yourself. I'll kill Sang Han myself, Su Fang said domineeringly. Taking advantage of the fact that his physical body hadn't disappeared, he escaped into the void and disappeared without a trace. Sang Han had escaped by a fluke, and his heart was filled with joy. After a dozen breaths, the first supreme elder and Ming Yin returned one after another. Seeing Sang Han's sorry state, the first supreme elder and Ming Yin were shocked and surprised. Sang Han's clothes were blood red, and the bloody light was dim. His clothes were tattered, and his body was covered with wounds. The usually high and mighty Sang Han looked like a beggar at this moment. You two idiots, you keep saying that you want to suppress Su Fang, but Su Fang killed countless experts of the demon race and the Tianming Haotsong sect right under your noses. Su Fang just played a little trick and led you around by the nose. You two idiots. Sang Han was full of anger and had nowhere to vent it, so he vented it all on the first supreme elder and Ming Yin, scolding them both. Oomph. Sang Han snorted and angrily returned to the depths of the Tianming celestial land. He was seriously injured again, and it was almost impossible for him to recover. Before this, the first supreme elder and Ming Yin were chasing after the second primordial spirit. Under the pursuit of two demigod experts, the second primordial spirit couldn't handle it and had to abandon the body of first supreme elder Zhang's son, and then use the primordial spirit's supreme ability to roam the world to escape. The first supreme elder and Ming Yin were already furious, and when they received a message from the sect that Su Fang had appeared, they immediately rushed back. After understanding the situation, the first supreme elder spat out a mouthful of blood and roared, "Su Fang, I will not live under the same sky as you." Su Fang had been wanted all over the world, but he had killed his way into the sect. This time, the Tianming Haotsong sect's face had been smashed to pieces. Losing some face wasn't a big deal. Together with First Supreme Elder Zhang's son, who was a young immortal, the Tianming Haotsong sect had lost more experts this time than the Great War of the Immortals and Demons. The Tianming Haotsong sect's sect master was still seriously injured. More importantly, the Tianming Haotsong sect's providence had been devoured by Su Fang. Experts could be nurtured, and the loss of vitality could be slowly recovered. But how could the loss of providence be recovered? Su Fang, Since you are so ruthless, the Tianming Haotsong sect has no choice but to use our last trump card and suppress you at all costs. I will capture you alive and slowly strip you of everything and merge you into the Tianming celestial land to restore the Tianming Haotsong sect's providence. The first supreme elder gritted his teeth, and his eyes flashed with ruthlessness and determination. He looked like he was going to throw caution to the wind. Su Fong has the supreme ability to devour a sect's providence. Mingyan also understood what had happened and was shocked to the core. He had heard before that Su Fong had the supreme ability to devour the providence of cultivators and even the demon army. He did not expect that. Su Fong could even devour the providence of the Tianming Haotsong sect, the #1 force in the immortal Dao world. If Su Fong used this supreme ability to devour the entire demon race's providence, wouldn't the demon race be annihilated? Moreover, Su Fong had overdrawn his physical body to possess god-level strength. In just a few hundred years, he had once again used this ability. Even Sang Han, a divine being, was almost killed. With such strength, who could compete with him? When I came to the large world from the myriad of worlds, I originally thought that it would be an extremely easy trial, yet I never imagined that I would actually encounter a formidable enemy like Su Fong. If I don't think of a way to kill him, then my trial assignment would be a failure, and my status in the clan would surely be at risk once I return to the myriad of worlds. Chapter 1686. Whoosh, Su Fong shuttled through the space-time turbulence. Jiuzhenjiang, 1705. The Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect has suffered such a huge loss this time. They will definitely go all out. I will avoid them for the time being. After I digest my gains and settle down for a while, I will return to the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect. When that time comes, the great world will no longer have the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect. Su Fong snorted, feeling extremely pleased in his heart. At this moment, Luo's voice sounded from the blood jade in the depths of Su Fong's body. A cultivator should be like this. Kill decisively and take revenge. Even if a strong enemy is in front of you, you must be brave and fearless. Only then can you cultivate a strong Dao heart and move forward on the path of cultivation. If you meet a god, you will kill a god. If you meet a demon, you will kill a demon. Whoever stands in your way will be killed. Luo, your murderous aura is really strong. No wonder you are the Azura King of the myriad worlds. Azura King? Right now, I'm just a piece of trash with my body and essence soul separated. Otherwise, how would a mere slave dare to be arrogant in front of me? Luo, don't worry. Since I can gather all the blood jade, I will definitely be able to help you find your body when we reach the myriad worlds and let you completely recover your abilities. I'm already very thankful that my essence soul can regain its freedom. As for finding my body, I don't have much hope. Who can say for sure what will happen in the future? Luo, you should consume the heart blood of the flame Kirin beast to recover your essence soul as soon as possible and break through the shackles of the crimson cage. There is no rush for now. My essence soul has just merged. It will not be too late to consume the heart blood of the flame Kirin beast after I adjust to my peak state. You, on the other hand, have once again overdrawn the potential of your perfected body. You must recover as soon as possible, or it will affect your cultivation foundation. The repercussions of this method are too great. It is not advisable to use it unless it is a matter of life and death. Luo, I understand. Su Fong nodded and then began to think about the next step of the plan. The Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect would definitely use all means to deal with Su Fong at all costs. In the world of immortals, it was difficult for Su Fong to have a foothold. Even if Su Fong was not afraid, if he focused all his energy on dealing with the encirclement of the Heavenly Mandate Haotsong sect, it would definitely affect his cultivation. If he wanted to quickly increase his strength and destroy the Heaven's Mandate Haotsong sect, Su Fong had to find a place to temporarily lay low. Su Fong, I suggest you go to the ancient battlefield of immortals and demons. Ancient battlefield of immortals and demons? Why? Luo spoke slowly. The primordial immortal demon battlefield will not only allow you to temporarily escape the pursuit of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect, but you can also rapidly increase your strength there. It's killing two birds with one stone. Luo, I'm very curious. Since you came from the Myriad Realms, why are you so familiar with the ancient immortal demon battlefield of the Great World? Not only the ancient battlefield of immortals and devils, I even know many things about the ancient era of the Great World. That's because before I became the Azura King, I came to the Great World to train in the ancient immortal demon battlefield. Back then, I even joined the human side and participated in the Great War of Immortals and Demons. Who knows how many elites of the demon race died at my hands? It's not just me. Many powerful forces and disciples of the god race in the Myriad Realms use the ancient immortal demon battlefield as a training ground. The Yellow Spring Great Emperor went to the ancient immortal demon battlefield in the past. Outyin Chanhin also went there to search for the inheritance of the Outyin clan. Even before the Kuan Yao died, he sent Senior Qingyu to the ancient immortal demon battlefield to search for the inheritance of the Peng clan. Isn't the ancient immortal demon battlefield the battlefield of the Great War of Immortals and Demons? Why is it so mysterious? The ancient immortal demon battlefield is the true origin of the Great World. If you don't go there, it will be difficult for you to reach the peak of the Great World. I can't tell you exactly what's there. You'll know when you get there. I'm really looking forward to the ancient immortal demon battlefield. After I recover, I will go to the ancient immortal devil battlefield. RBVZ5J reading Biscuit Exchange coupon. After finishing his conversation with Luo, Su Fong randomly found a ruin and entered the True Dragon Realm. The True Dragon Realm turned into a speck of dust and hid in the ruins. The Heavenly Fate Hao Tsang sect had a supreme ability to sense auras in a large area. Su Fong didn't dare to be careless. He fused the Heavenly Fate death-taking art with the True Dragon Realm's aura to conceal it before entering the Time Cavern abode. Whoosh! After forming the seal, Su Fong's body shattered and turned into a pool of blood that immediately filled the small room. This couldn't be helped. The Time Cavern abode that Shu Yunkong created with the Supreme Time Reincarnation Great Tao was very small and had a certain impact on Su Fong's cultivation of the Yellow Spring Blood Sea. However, cultivating in the Time Cavern abode could save 10 times the time, which was enough to make up for all the shortcomings. Whoosh! The pool of blood spiraled and crazily devoured all kinds of pills, spiritual items, and resources to recover the huge consumption. About 3 years later in the Time Cavern abode, Su Fong finally completely recovered the huge consumption caused by overdrawing his perfect realm body. With a thought, a demon monkey appeared above the pool of blood. This demon monkey was a demon sage. It was suppressed by the Heavenly Fate Hao Tsang sect and refused to submit. In the end, its primordial spirit lost consciousness and was only left with a body. It was indeed a peerless big goblin at the demon sage level. Even without its primordial spirit, its body still exuded a violent and unruly aura, as well as an incomparably majestic life force. When such a big goblin was at its peak state, even a demigod expert would find it difficult to suppress it. It was far from what an ordinary human peak Tao realm cultivator could compare to. Su Fong also admired this demon monkey very much. However, admiration was admiration, and he still devoured what needed to be devoured. If I hadn't taken you away from the Heavenly Fate Hao Tsang sect, you would have become a cultivation tool for the demon race. Instead of that, why don't you help me, Su Fong? I promise you that one day, I will definitely eradicate the Heavenly Fate Hao Tsang sect and take revenge for you. Su Fong said. Whoosh! A pool of blood wrapped around the demon monkey and swept it into the Yellow Spring Blood Sea. Sizzle! The demon monkey's fur and skin were gradually corroded by the blood. Then its flesh and blood turned into a pool of blood. The flames of life ignited and emitted a series of shocking roars in the room. The demon chi contained in the demon monkey's body was absorbed by Su Fong into his golden elixir origin. It constantly charged towards the peak of the mid-stage Tao realm. Suddenly, roar! A roar that Su Fong found familiar came from the Heaven and Earth Tao Palace. It was an angry roar that sounded extremely unreal. Following that, a huge commotion came from the extinguished soil at the base of the World Tree. It turned out that the remnant consciousness of the demon monkey that had been refined by the heavenly fire divine lord of the divine world seemed to have sensed the blood and chi of its own kind. It actually automatically emerged from the extinguished soil again. This demon monkey was definitely not comparable to the demon monkey that was devouring. One was a demon sage of a large world, and the one in the extinguished soil was a divine monkey. Su Fong sensed that the demon monkey's aura in the Yellow Spring Blood Sea was flowing into the Heaven and Earth Tao Palace. Su Fong Dao was shocked. The divine monkey's consciousness was actually devouring the demon monkey's life essence. Luo, who was in the Blood Jade, was also alarmed. He was also very surprised. I didn't expect your Heaven and Earth Tao Palace to be cultivated to such a level in such a short period of time. Moreover, there was a divine monkey's consciousness hidden in that pile of ashes. Su Fong told Luo about the divine monkey. Luo sighed. The story of this divine monkey has spread all over the divine world. Even I have heard of it. Who would have thought that you would be able to obtain the extinguishing soil of the divine monkey, and even a strand of its divine will? Su Fong asked. The divine monkey's consciousness appeared once before. It exploded with a powerful will. If not for it, I would not have been able to kill the divine Cauldron Holy Man. Now that it has appeared again and automatically absorbed the demon monkey's life essence, it won't cause me any trouble in the future, will it? Luo Sisuo said after a while. It shouldn't. What exists in the extinguished soil is just a consciousness. As long as the heavenly fire divine Lord doesn't die, this consciousness will not disappear from the world. It won't target you. The demon monkey is the same as it. By absorbing the demon monkey's life essence, this consciousness will become stronger. You can use this to your advantage. Use? Have you forgotten about the Yellow Spring Devil Emperor's immortal blood spirit? Immortal blood spirit. It was based on the Yellow Spring Blood Sea, a physical body forbidden technique. It used various spiritual items and forbidden spells to create a blood spirit that became a host. Through the Yellow Spring reincarnation technique, a cultivator's primordial spirit consciousness could be transferred, possessed, devoured, and fused into the blood spirit's body, thereby achieving immortality. Although the divine monkey's consciousness was just a consciousness and not a primordial spirit consciousness, the divine monkey was an incomparably powerful existence in the divine world. This consciousness was no small matter. By constantly devouring the life essence of the demon monkey and going through a special primordial spirit forbidden spell, the divine monkey could regenerate its primordial spirit consciousness. If Su Fong could create a blood spirit and let it live in the blood spirit, he would be able to cultivate it into an extremely powerful battle slave. Using the method of creating the immortal blood spirit to cultivate the divine monkey into a battle slave, Su Fong was shocked by the bold idea. It's just a hypothesis. The premise is that not only do you have to cultivate the Yellow Spring reincarnation technique to the extreme, but you also have to perfect the Yellow Spring Devil Emperor's Yellow Spring reincarnation technique. Furthermore, you have to have the supreme strength to contend with the gods who control the heavenly way of the macro world. Otherwise, once the immortal blood spirit appears, it will chase you to the ends of the earth and kill you. At this moment, Su Fong already understood that the so-called heavenly punishment was a divine world faction that controlled the heavenly way of the macro world and not the supreme heavenly way of the universe's cycle of reincarnation. I wonder if Shinja Tianjun, who sent down the heavenly punishment, killed the Yellow Spring Devil Emperor and destroyed the Yellow Spring Immortal World, is the Divine World faction behind the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. The Divine World faction behind the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect? However, if I can go to the Divine World one day and become an overlord, I will definitely find Shinja Tianjun and kill him to repay the Yellow Spring Devil Emperor's great kindness in inheriting my legacy. I still have to establish the immortal reincarnation path in the divine world and fulfill the Yellow Spring Devil Emperor's unfulfilled wish. Su Fong had obtained the Yellow Spring Devil Emperor's legacy and was considered his successor. When he became powerful in the future, he would naturally avenge him. At this moment, the weapon spirit of the Yellow Spring Reincarnation Sword's voice came from the Heaven and Earth Tao Palace. Master, I look forward to the day when you can avenge the old master. I also hope that you can perfect the immortal reincarnation path. Chapter 1687. Gugugu, Jiuzhen Jiang, 1706. Sizzle. The netherworld blood sea was roaring, and the flame of life was burning naturally. The blood water crazily devoured the demon monkey's body and turned it into life essence, causing the netherworld blood sea to constantly expand and expand. Not only was the area changing, but the ability of the netherworld blood sea was also transforming and sublimating at the same time. The divine monkey's consciousness in the extinguishing soil was also constantly absorbing the demon monkey's life essence. But there were no visible changes for the time being. The life essence devoured by this consciousness was refined by Su Fong's netherworld blood sea, and it also contained Su Fong's consciousness. When it devoured the demon monkey's life essence, it also allowed Su Fong's consciousness to unknowingly merge with the divine monkey's obsession. Although it could not affect the divine monkey's obsession for the time being, at least it was not rejected. One day, as the divine monkey's obsession continued to devour the life essence, it would produce a primordial spirit consciousness, and it would be subtly influenced and controlled by Su Fong. Then it would create the immortal blood spirit and become the physical body of the divine monkey's primordial spirit consciousness. Maybe it would really be like what Luo said and cultivate a powerful battle slave. Jiuzhen Jiang, 1706. Of course, no one knew how many years this would take, and Su Fong did not have much hope. In the time cave, he had cultivated for about 100 years, but more than 1,000 years had passed in the outside world. At this time, Su Fong discovered a drawback of the time cave, and that was the speed of life essence in the time cave was also 10 times that of the outside world. However, Su Fong had amazing life essence, and losing this bit of life essence was nothing to him. On this day, the blood water in the room tumbled and condensed into Su Fong's physical body. He flew out of the room, and then directly left the true dragon realm and came to the ruins. Su Fong's eyes were hale and hearty, revealing an excited and expectant look. It turned out that after such a long time of cultivation, Su Fong felt that the cultivation of the netherworld blood sea had reached a peak. Using the perfect sensing ability, Su Fong also activated the heavenly secret life-taking technique. After sensing that there were no cultivators around, he began to form seals. Bang! Bang! Su Fong's flesh, blood, tendons, and bones shattered layer by layer, turning into a puddle of blood. The bloody water roared and surged incessantly. It was like an overflowing ocean that swept out in all directions and covered an enormous area. 10,000 feet of bloody water. That was an area of 70 miles of bloody water. This area was completely covered in bloody water. How shocking was that? In an instant, the sea of blood seemed to have obscured the heavens and the earth. It spiraled and whistled, releasing a terrifying reincarnation and devouring power. It was as if the heavens were about to be devoured. At this moment, Su Fong felt that his great perfection senses were nearly 3 times stronger than before. Fire Cloud, the Arch Body, Blood Transformation True Body, Black Lotus True Body, Formless Golden Dipper Body, and other True Body abilities could be instantly activated and used with great agility. Furthermore, their strength had increased by quite a bit. The biggest change was his devouring ability. Whoosh! The spinning speed of the blood water suddenly sped up. A surge of reincarnation divine might rose into the sky and swept out in all directions. Boom! Boom! The reincarnation divine might spread out in all directions, covering an area of 10,000 miles. The void was distorted, and even the laws of energy circulation were collapsing layer by layer. The energy of heaven and earth was in chaos. The material fragments, dust, and natural spiritual chi in the space were all attracted and surged into the netherworld blood sea. In an instant, they were all devoured by the terrifying, devouring power. Whoosh! After the bloody water shrank, it condensed into Su Fong's true body. With a shake of his hand, he shook off the material fragments and dust that had just been devoured. As for the natural spiritual energy of heaven and earth, it was devoured and refined by him. In Su Fong's mind, Baishan Ancient Demon described the terrifying scene of the Yellow Springs Devil Emperor using the Acheron Blood Sea to devour force. Corpses were everywhere and piled up like mountains. The heavens and earth had turned into a sea of blood. Devouring everything was the true ability of the Acheron Blood Sea. If Su Fong used his great perfection physical body and the various true bodies built on it, his devouring ability would be even more terrifying. He could be said to be invincible in the great world. This kind of devouring was not only devouring matter and energy. When fighting with the enemy, he could even use the Acheron Blood Sea to devour the enemy's flesh, blood, and vitality. He could use the power of reincarnation and devouring to disintegrate the enemy's divine ability and aura. I can also easily devour a force when I use the Acheron Blood Sea now. Its power is not inferior to the Acheron Blood Sea that the Yellow Springs Devil Emperor used in the past. At this moment, I have cultivated the Acheron Blood Sea to the extreme, and I have the Acheron Golden Body of the Yellow Springs Great Emperor. Moreover, I have various true bodies that the Yellow Springs Devil Emperor did not have back then. My Acheron Golden Body is even more powerful than the Yellow Springs Devil Emperor's. Sensing the majestic and powerful vitality in his body, Su Fong was overjoyed. After cultivating the Acheron Golden Body, as long as he had a drop of blood and a young immortal, he could be resurrected. Even without a young immortal, a drop of blood would have a near-eternal vitality. This was the great benefit that Su Fong brought to cultivating the Acheron Blood Sea to the extreme and cultivating the Acheron Golden Body. What I inherited from the Yellow Springs Great Emperor was not only the Acheron Blood Sea, but also the Acheron Reincarnation Art. Back then, the Yellow Springs Great Emperor went against the heavens and tried to create an immortal reincarnation, but he failed in the end. Unlike the Great Emperor, I can complete his last wish and perfect the Acheron Reincarnation Art and create an immortal reincarnation path. The Acheron Blood Sea was a peerless cultivation technique that the Yellow Springs Great Emperor comprehended. Later on, the Yellow Springs Great Emperor comprehended the Acheron Reincarnation Art from the Reincarnation Sword. When cultivated to the extreme, he could create a true reincarnation cycle and immortality. Unfortunately, the Yellow Springs Great Emperor failed. Because he violated the heavenly Tao, he was punished by the heavens, and eventually he and the Yellow Springs immortal world were destroyed. Back then, the Yellow Springs Great Emperor used the Acheron Blood Sea as the origin and the Acheron Reincarnation Art as the divine power to create the Yellow Springs immortal world. He also created the reincarnation law in it and covered the entire immortal world with the divine power of reincarnation, so that all the aura, matter, and life in the immortal world would be endlessly reborn in the divine power of reincarnation. He used the Acheron Blood Sea as the origin to create the immortal blood spirit. Because they were resurrected in the Yellow Springs immortal world, they did not abide by the heavenly Tao. When they absorbed the natural spiritual chi outside the Yellow Springs immortal world, it was equivalent to absorbing the aura of the heavenly Tao, causing their consciousness to fall into the demonic path. What I cultivate is the supreme heavenly Tao. The heaven and earth Tao Palace is the world. When my world is completed, I will be the world's heavenly Tao and create an immortal reincarnation in the world. Who can punish me then? Even if Master Shu Yunkong died, as long as there is a wisp of his soul left, I can resurrect him with the help of the immortal blood spirit. My family and friends can also achieve immortality in my world. Su Fong's eyes were hale and hearty. At this moment, he made a great ambition in his heart, and that was to perfect the Yellow Springs reincarnation manual, cultivate it into a world of his own, and create a true immortal reincarnation so that all his family and friends could live forever. Law exclaimed in shock from the blood jade in his body. Your ambition is simply heaven-defying. If it were anyone else, including the Yellow Springs Great Emperor, I would definitely snort in contempt. But if it's you, I believe that one day in the future, you can really do what the Yellow Springs Great Emperor failed to do. You can create a miracle that has never been seen before. I look forward to the arrival of this day. Law reminded him, before you truly possess the supreme strength to contend with the existence that controls the heavenly Tao, you must be careful. There's a supreme existence that controls the heavenly Tao of a macro world, and there's also a mysterious existence that controls the heavenly Tao of myriad worlds. Once you defy the heavens and punish you, you'll be reduced to ashes. Law, I will remember. I will never repeat the mistakes of the Yellow Springs Great Emperor. Su Fong smiled confidently. Then Su Fong took out a flying boat Dao tool and handed it to his subordinate. He himself entered the cabin of the flying boat and then entered the true dragon realm. Biscuit exchange, voucher whoosh. The flying boat left the ruins and went straight to the ancient battlefield of immortals and demons. Su Fong entered the time and space cave and continued to devour the remaining body of the demon monkey, as well as various pills, to attack the peak of the middle stage of the Tao realm. It won't take long for his strength to increase greatly. Su Fong would not touch the heart blood of the fire-scaled beast for the time being. When Law adjusted to his best state, he would use the Yellow Springs Blood Sea to devour it. At that time, he would extract the blood chi from the heart blood of the fire-scaled beast to help Law break through the bloody cage. As for the remaining fire energy, Su Fong could use it to attack the Yang Meridian. About 10 years later, in the true dragon realm, a red-haired old man came to the time and space cave where Su Fong cultivated. It was old monster Zhu Tian. After so many years, old monster Zhu Tian had been refining pills in the true dragon realm's alchemy hall. His cultivation realm had not improved much, and now he was only at the 5 Tao sane immortal realm. This speed of improvement was considered good in the great world, but among Su Fong's subordinates, it was only considered low. However, old monster Zhu Tian's identity was extraordinary in the true dragon realm. Apart from Bai Ling, Emperor Zhu, and the other big goblin who had followed Su Fong from the small world, he had the highest status. That was because the Yin Yang Immortal Sky Pill and the King Grade Pills were all made by him. Ever since Su Fong saved old monster Zhu Tian's daughter in the Tian Ming Hao Tsang sect, old monster Zhu Tian was completely loyal to Su Fong. He focused on refining pills for Su Fong. Although his cultivation realm had not improved much, his alchemy skills had reached the top level in the great world. This time, Su Fong had subdued an alchemy master in the Tian Ming Hao Tsang sect to help old monster Zhu Tian. At this time, the True Dragon Realm's alchemy hall suddenly had 2 more top alchemy masters, and the overall alchemy skills had greatly improved. Master, I have an important matter to discuss with you. Old monster Zhu Tian cupped his fists and shouted towards the depths of the cave. Looking at his red face, one did not know what good news it was. One of Su Fong's Yang Immortal flew out of the cave. Old monster Zhu Tian, did you have a breakthrough in alchemy? Chapter 1688. King Grade Yin Yang Immortal Sky Pill. You actually refined a King Grade Yin Yang Immortal Sky Pill? Su Fong was both surprised and delighted. He simply couldn't believe it. 8 unspecified currency, 8 unspecified currency reading unspecified currency books. Oh, the Yin Yang Immortal Sky Pill could help condense the power of Yin and Yang. Not only could it assist in cultivation, but it could also bring about the power of life. It could cause the blood and qi in the body to boil faster and help in recovery. After Su Fong came to the great world, in the constellation of 9 heavens, he used the aphrodisiac pill as the foundation to refine the Yin-Yang Immortal Sky Pill. From then on, the Yin-Yang Immortal Sky Pill became an important pill for his cultivation. However, after entering the Tao realm and becoming an immortal supremacy expert, the yin-yang immortal sky pill was not very useful to Su Fang's cultivation. It was mostly used to help in recovery. Old Monster Zhu Tian had refined a peak supreme grade yin-yang immortal sky pill a long time ago. However, he had never been able to refine a king grade yin-yang immortal sky pill. Unexpectedly, he really didn't expect it. At this moment, Old Monster Zhu Tian had actually refined a king grade yin-yang immortal sky pill. Whoosh! Su Fang's original body directly walked out from the depths of the cave abode. Where is the king grade yin-yang immortal sky pill? Old Monster Zhu Tian grabbed from his storage ring and spat out a xianguang. A grayish-white pill floated in the xianguang. Yin-yang immortal sky pill. Different from the peak supreme grade yin-yang immortal sky pill, this pill was slightly larger and covered with spirit patterns. It faintly emitted the aura of yin and yang. A pill could actually emit the aura of the great Tao. It was simply unbelievable. Let's see how different a king grade yin-yang immortal sky pill is from a peak supreme grade one. The king grade yin-yang immortal sky pill, which was about the size of a pearl, was swallowed by Su Fang. It immediately turned into a wisp of spiritual smoke and flowed down his throat into his body. After 4 to 5 breaths, the yin and yang power that Su Fang was very familiar with suddenly exploded in his body and directly fused with the true qi in his body. At the same time, all the true qi in his body turned into the yin-yang true qi that turned into pills. Furthermore, there was also a medicinal pill's power that caused Su Fang's blood qi to surge and burn within his body. If the yin-yang genuine qi and vital blood qi transformed from the yin-yang immortal sky elixir of the highest grade was a mountain spring, then the power transformed from the king grade yin-yang immortal sky elixir of the highest grade was an explosive mountain torrent. Even with Su Fang's current cultivation and incomparably powerful physical body, he immediately felt the obvious changes brought about by the elixir. It was this yin-yang immortal sky pellet that allowed Su Fang's blood to condense a lot of yin and yang energy. His blood and qi were boundless, and his flesh and blood had also strengthened a little. 6 Su Fang was trying to break through to the advanced level of the Tao realm. If he had the help of a large number of king-grade yin-yang immortal sky pills, the time he needed to break through to the intermediate level of the Tao realm would be greatly shortened. Old Monster Zhu Tian, you made a great contribution this time. Su Fang was very happy and praised Old Monster Zhu Tian. This is mainly because Master's strength has increased and the yin and yang energy has reached a higher level. In addition, the alchemy master that Master has just subdued is also very capable. Only then can you successfully refine the king-grade yin-yang immortal sky elixir. Old Monster Zhu Tian rubbed his hands excitedly. He was very concerned about Su Fang's praise. Then he said, however, refining the king-grade yin-yang immortal sky elixir not only requires the highest grade of spiritual water in the great world, but also requires real treasures. Besides me and the alchemy master, no one else can refine it, so we can't refine it in large quantities. This is also something that can't be helped. Refine as many as you can and quickly refine some. My cultivation is now at a critical moment, so I need a lot of yin-yang immortal sky elixir of this grade. There aren't many materials needed to refine the elixir. Master must purchase a large number of materials as soon as possible. Don't worry about the materials. Immediately find an immortal world and find the Great Star Hall to trade. It just so happens that the Equipment Refining Dojo and the Alchemy Dojo have refined a large number of magic treasures and elixirs over the years. They're just about to deal with them. Su Fang nodded and was about to turn and enter the cave residence. Unexpectedly, Old Monster Zhu Tian stuttered. Master, Su Fang asked in surprise. What is it? There's no harm in saying it. That. Master, this time I refined the king-grade yin-yang immortal sky elixir and made a great contribution to Master. Can I ask Master for a favor? Say it. As long as I can do it, I won't be stingy. My daughter Yuro. is not young anymore. I want to find a Tao companion for her." Su Fong was startled and immediately said, "This is a good thing. What's there to be afraid of? If you like anyone, I'll directly propose marriage for you." "Master, ever since you saved Yuro in the heavenly fate Haotsong's sex skyward golden palace, she can't forget you. So the Tao companion she wants to find is Master." Ah, Su Fong was dumbfounded. A burst of laughter came from the blood jade in Luo's body. "Not bad, not bad. How can I not accept a woman who sends herself to my door? If you accept this woman named Zhong Yuro, not only can you solve your physiological problems when Xuanqing is not by your side, you can also make old monster Zhu Tian wholeheartedly refine pills for you. Such a good thing. How can you miss it?" Su Fong directly ignored Luo's words and said to old monster Zhu Tian, "You should know my nature. I have never been fond of women. Besides Xuanqing, I have no other Tao companions and will not find any other Tao companions. Tell Miss Joan that I'm really sorry." After saying that, Su Fong hurriedly walked into the cave residence, looking like he was fleeing. Old monster Zhu Tian was very disappointed. He sighed heavily and helplessly left Su Fong's cultivation hall. On this day, Feng Ling, who was driving a flying boat, came to the cabin where Su Fong was cultivating in seclusion. "Brother Su, the chaotic sky great world is in front of us. Feng Ling, Tuoyu, and the others were cruelly used as cannon fodder by Tianming Hao Tsang sect during the Great Immortal Demon War. They were taken by Su Fong to carry out a mission with no chance of survival. Therefore, they became Su Fong's subordinates. After the Great Immortal Demon War, they did not return to their sects but stayed in the Jinlong world. The cultivation resources they obtained were more than 10 times more than in Tianming Hao Tsang sect. At this time, Feng Ling had not only become an immortal venerable expert, but his cultivation realm was also about to reach the middle stage of the initial stage of the Tao realm. Such an improvement speed was very shocking even in Tianming Hao Tsang sect. Su Fong did not treat him as a slave, but as a friend. The chaotic sky, great world? Let's go and have a look. Su Fong had not been in contact with the cultivation civilization of the great world for a long time and felt that he was about to fall out of touch with it. This time, he was going to purchase the materials needed to refine the King-grade Yin-Yang Immortal Sky elixir and trade with Grandstar Hall. At the same time, he also wanted to inquire about the current situation of the great world. In addition, Su Fong's cultivation had encountered a shackle. His cultivation realm had reached the peak of the initial stage of the Tao realm, but he was still unable to advance to the middle stage of the Tao realm. This was not something that could be solved by secluded cultivation. He needed to go out and search for opportunities. Therefore, Su Fong left his blood and water doppelgangers in the Cavern of Time to continue cultivating various cultivation methods and divine abilities while his true body left the Jinlong world. After putting away the flying boat, Su Fong went straight to the chaotic sky great world. The chaotic sky great world. It was far away from the central immortal domain and at the edge of the immortal Tao world. The reason why it was called the chaotic sky great world was because the natural force of heaven and earth here was chaotic and violent. The immortal realms were divided into countless small planes by the natural force and were in a state of chaos and disorder. According to Luo, the chaotic sky great world was formed by many huge planes of the immortal realms in ancient times. The reason why it was like this was because of the great war of the immortals and demons in ancient times. Even gods had participated in the war. The collision of supreme divine abilities had caused the great world to be shattered and divided into scattered planes of the immortal realms. The chaotic sky great world was surrounded by all kinds of wastelands, dangerous places, and dangerous places. It produced many treasures of heaven and earth. There were also many relics and secret realms left from ancient times, which attracted countless cultivators to come and search for treasures. Therefore, the chaotic sky great world showed a kind of abnormal prosperity. The most powerful force in the chaotic sky great world was called the Supreme Sacred Sect. It occupied the largest plane of the immortal realm in the chaotic sky great world. Therefore, this immortal realm was called the Supreme Sacred Immortal Realm. Let's go to the supreme sacred sect. After arriving at the immortal realm's royal city, Su Fong put on a golden mask and walked toward the barrier passage that led to the royal city. Although this place wasn't within the heavenly mandate bright firmament sect's sphere of influence, the heavenly mandate bright firmament sect had placed a huge bounty on Su Fong's head in the great world. There was no guarantee that someone would take the risk out of desperation. Although Su Fong wasn't afraid, he didn't want to get into any unnecessary trouble. Therefore, he deliberately put on a mask and suppressed his aura to that of a ninth Tao Saint Immortal. Unless the heavenly mandate bright firmament sect's supreme grand elder activated the great encirclement formation again to sense Su Fong's aura or bumped into a demigod expert, even a peak stage Tao realm expert wouldn't be able to recognize Su Fong. Because the world energy in the chaotic sky great world was abnormally chaotic, every immortal realm had a powerful barrier around it. The barrier entrance to the supreme sacred immortal realm's royal city was a huge arched door created by divine abilities and formations. Cultivators constantly passed through the arched door. For some reason, there were many cultivators entering the supreme sacred immortal realm. There were also many cultivators dressed as mercenaries. Su Fong even saw a few Tao realm experts among the cultivators waiting to enter the supreme sacred immortal realm. One had to pay a shocking amount of immortal stones to enter the supreme sacred immortal realm. Naturally, Su Fong didn't lack immortal stones. After paying the fee, he walked toward the arched door. Su Fong's gaze landed on a Tao artifact painting hanging on the side of the arched door. He couldn't help but raise his eyebrows as a trace of coldness flashed in the depths of his eyes. 36 search. Half floating / equals it turned out that the Tao artifact painting was a wanted list. The target was Su Fong. The heavenly mandate bright firmament sect still hasn't given up after suffering such a huge loss. Su Fong sneered. Not only was Su Fong wanted on the Tao artifact painting, but Li Haojia, the Lord of Five Poisons, the Green Feathered Demon Emperor, the Great Monk Shangda, the Ghost Tao's Five Freaks, and other friends and slave masters were all wanted. Their names were densely packed in a long row. The heavenly mandate bright firmament sects offer made even peak stage Tao realm experts feel a rush of excitement. Even Su Fong felt envious when he saw it. On the other side of the wanted list was a cultivator shackled. Buzz. Chapter 1689. The cultivator who'd been shackled to the arched door had committed some kind of serious crime. His hands and feet had been impaled by nail-shaped Tao treasures and fused with the arched door's formation. Unless one had the power to shake the entire world's boundary, there was no way to save him. Yin female sign, 8 yin female sign, 8 yin female sign read, yin female sign books. 230 yin, yin who knew how long he'd been hanging there. His skin had been dried by the wind, making him look like a corpse. His face couldn't be seen clearly, and his fiery red hair was disheveled. His aura was weak, and he seemed to be on his last breath. It's him. Not only did the heaven's secret life shrinking art react, Su Fong's perfect ability also sensed that within this person's extremely withered aura, there was a desolate aura unique to the Nine Heaven Star Palace. Qi Yinzi. Qi Yinzi was a special disciple of the constellation of Nine Heavens. His talent was extraordinary, and he was also a tribulation taker. Su Fong had saved him many times. Su Fong had saved the leader of the constellation of Nine Heavens and Qi Yinzi from the Great Qin Immortal Emperor in the depths of the Lightfall Abyss in the Lightfall Realm. The ungrateful leader of the constellation of Nine Heavens had been slain by Su Fong, and Qi Yinzi had separated from Su Fong and ventured out alone. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that he'd meet Qi Yinzi again in the chaotic heaven great realm, countless immortal realms and great worlds away, and that he'd fallen to such a state? Su Fong's great perfection ability swept over Qi Yinzi, and he discovered that his cultivation had reached the early stages of the Tao realm. In just a few thousand years, Qi Yinzi had risen from a world immortal to such a high level. As expected of a tribulation taker, he was often blessed with great fortuitous encounters and fortunes that ordinary people couldn't. Although Qi Yinzi's aura was weak, his dantian and golden core were still intact. His Dao path hadn't been destroyed. Su Fong remembered that in the Thunder Waterfall Abyss, Qi Yinzi had once obtained the inheritance of an ancient immortal called Venerable Hui Qi at the same time. He had also been recognized as master by an ancient beast, Hui Qi at this time. Su Fong could not sense the aura of a Hui Qi from him. Su Fong had saved Qi Yinzi because he was a tribulation taker. With Su Fong's current strength, he naturally wouldn't take a beginner Dao realm immortal venerable seriously. However, Su Fong admired Qi Yinzi's talent and character very much. Moreover, he was an old friend of the constellation of Nine Heavens. Now that he had met him, he naturally had to save him. Su Fong didn't want to make a big deal out of it. He was thinking of a way to save Qi Yinzi. At this time, more than a dozen cultivators dressed as mercenaries flew over. The heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect actually increased the reward for Su Fong. What big deal? If we're lucky one day, even if we don't capture Su Fong with our own hands, we'll know where he is and report to the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect. The reward will be enough for us to squander for the rest of our lives. The mercenaries pointed at the Axis painting Dao artifact, looking very tempted. There were countless treasures and ruins in the chaotic heaven great world. Therefore, there was an endless stream of cultivators who came to seek treasures. Mercenaries were also the most common presence. Among these mercenaries, there were several immortal venerables. One of them was a mid-stage Dao realm expert. Such a group of mercenaries could be considered top-notch in the great world. Hearing these mercenaries' words, Su Fong's eyes exuded a cold chill. Su Fong had risked his life to resolve the crisis of the immortal Dao world. How could he not feel disappointed when he received this in return? Suddenly, a burly man among the mercenaries glared at Su Fong and scolded disdainfully. "What are you looking at? You're only a sage immortal. You want to capture Su Fong? You really don't know what's good for you." He then scolded his companions. If it weren't for Su Fong, the immortal Dao world would have fallen into the hands of the demon race and the resurrected experts. All of you would have either been devoured or enslaved. Although we're mercenaries and live on the edge of blade, we can't be ungrateful. Otherwise, what's the difference between us and those beasts? The mercenaries blushed and shut their mouths. Another acquaintance. Today seems to be a good day. Su Fong glanced at the burly man and smiled under his mask. Su Fong was no stranger to this mercenary. His name was Song Shui. He'd once captured Dai Yi and planned to sell her to Grand Elder Yun of the Grand Star Hall. After learning of the relationship between Dai Yi and Su Fong, Song Shui not only released Dai Yi, but also found a way to meet Su Fong. He worshipped Su Fong almost to the point of fanaticism. He didn't expect to meet Qi Yinzi and then Song Shui in the chaotic sky great world. It could only be said that the chaotic sky great world was too small. The leading mid-stage Dao realm mercenary lowered his voice and said, "Song Shui, don't speak nonsense. If you offend the sacred sect, not only will you suffer, but we'll also suffer. Look at Cultivator Hong, who's being shackled by the sacred sect. You'll know the consequences of speaking up for Su Fong. Boss Hong Jun, if you're afraid of death, you can take the other brothers and leave first," Song Shui said coldly and walked toward the sacred sect cultivators guarding the boundary. A supreme sacred sect cultivator from the Blue Blood dynasty cupped his fists and said, "Brother, what crime did that person commit to be hung there?" Seeing Song Shui's strength, the sacred sect cultivator was very polite. "This person is called Qi Yinzi. He was a guest elder of our sacred sect and was very strong. Unfortunately, he was found to be from the same sect as Su Fong and was handed over to Heaven's mandate Hao Tsang sect. He's been hung up there for 300 years. The words of the supreme sacred sect cultivator were clearly heard by Su Fong with his peak hearing. His heart was filled with anger and killing intent. "Same sect as Su Fong?" Song Shui raised his eyebrows and smiled. "He's already half dead. He'll die sooner or later if he hangs there. Why not sell him as a slave? I'm in need of slave masters and am willing to pay a high price for him. Brother, please report this to the upper echelons of sacred sect, and you'll be rewarded." What do you think? Su Fong didn't expect Song Shui to want to save Qi Yinzi. He had a good impression of this mercenary. Well, the sacred sect cultivator hesitated. At this point, two cultivators walked out from the immortal world inside the arch door. The one in the lead was a handsome young man in a golden robe, with a golden crown on his head. He had the aura of an early Tao realm expert, and a surge of vital energy and the power of monarchs emanated from him. He had the loftiness of an overlord. The other cultivator was an old man with an imperious aura. His strength had reached the advanced stage of the Tao realm. Moreover, Su Fong also sensed a very familiar aura from the heavenly mandate, Hao Tsong sect cultivator. The sacred sect cultivators bowed to the young man. Young master of sacred sect. The golden-robed cultivator was the young master of sacred sect. Su Fong sensed a fire-hornless aura from the young master and knew that he was the one who took Qi Yinzi's fire, hornless beast. Qi Yinzi, who was already on the verge of death, suddenly opened his eyes and looked at the supreme, saint young master with hatred in his eyes. Elder Qi Yinzi, you can only blame yourself for being Su Fong's former sect mate. Don't blame me. The young master smiled in disdain. He then continued, Qi Yinzi, as long as you hand over that treasure, this young lord will plead with the heavens mandate Hao Tsong sect on your behalf to spare your life. Why should you throw your life away for a treasure? Qi Yin's purple eyes burned with anger. He wanted to curse the supreme saint young master, but he couldn't make a sound. Stubborn. Let's see how long you can last. Young Master Supreme Saint sneered and ignored Qi Yinzi. Instead, he turned to Song Shui. He said imposingly, You want to spend a lot of money to buy scarlet purple? Yes, Song Shui said. The young master's face darkened. He's Su Fong's henchman. Take him down. More than 100 cultivators of the supreme sacred sect, guarding the arched door, rushed up and surrounded Song Shui and the mercenaries. Cultivators from the supreme sacred sect also flew out from the royal city inside the arched door. Now, even Su Fong was surrounded. The leader of the mercenaries, Hong Jun, said, You must have misunderstood. Song Shui is just a mercenary who exchanged his life for money. How can he be Su Fong's henchman? The middle-level Tao realm cultivator from Heaven's Mandate, Hao Tsong sect, said. He spoke for Su Fong just now. If he's not Su Fong's henchman, then what is he? Take him down. The sacred sect cultivators rushed forward to capture Song Shui and the mercenaries. Even Su Fong wasn't spared. Song Shui wasn't afraid. He laughed and said, I, Song Shui, want to be Su Fong's henchman. Even if I'm just a slave, it's still an honor. Unfortunately, I don't have such an opportunity. How dare you? Take them all down, shouted the supreme, sacred young master. Boom! A tyrannical flame burst out of Supreme Saint Young Lord's body and fiercely attacked Song Shui, sending him flying away. The flames on his body burned fiercely. Song Shui was an early-level Tao realm immortal venerable and a veteran mercenary. Who would have thought that the young master would be able to injure him so severely? The young master was so young, but his strength was so terrifying. Suddenly, the flame on Song Shui's body shot toward a direction and landed in the palm of a cultivator. The flame flashed and was absorbed into the cultivator's body. It turned out that Su Fong had made a move. His 9 sons' immortal fire was superior to all the flames in the great world. All flames had to yield under his flame aura. Although the young master's flame was overbearing, how could it compare to Su Fong's 9 sons' immortal fire? Under the divine might of Su Fong's flames, they could only be obedient. Su Fong walked out and said imposingly, he only spoke a few words on behalf of Su Fong. And you want to suppress him? Isn't that a little too overbearing?